Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. How's everybody doing? It's Sunday. Hope you guys are doing well. I have been busy this weekend again. Super, 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 super busy. I got like really good big plans coming. Hopefully things go well, and if they do, I will update you guys. If they don't, oh well. But just a lot of last minute things falling into my lap where I have to buckle down and just brush up some things for work. Um, Let me take a selfie real quick. Whew, eyebrow all messed up. Okay, anyway, moving on, moving on. All right. A lot of things have been falling into my lap, so it's been very busy these last 4 weeks, but hopefully if things turn out well, I will give you guys a lot of updates. If not, it is what it is. I'll just move on accordingly and it'll be fine. But yeah, today I want to talk to you guys about some stuff that is weighing heavy on my heart, weighing heavy on my spirit. Um, I plan on covering some things from Love Island, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I still haven't watched Love Island yet, and I don't know. I don't know if I want to watch Love Island. Like I really don't. I don't. And I don't know. I have like theories about reality TV and how it works, and I'll get into that in a bit. But I just see all the commentaries of Love Island on TikTok and how people feel about certain individuals. I know that Amaya Papaya, she won the show. I think. Did she win the show? Let me look up. Who won Love Island? Who won Love Island USA? Let me do an in-game. Okay, so I don't know, but I heard that Amaya Papaya won Love Island USA. I heard that she won it. Yeah, okay, so Nicolandria, they were the finalists, and then Amaya Papaya won, which is pretty cute. And I love that for both of them. Nicolandria looks stunning. Stunning. Like I can't like my eyes immediately go to Miss Nicolandria. Like, oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. But anyway, yeah, we're gonna talk about that. I'm gonna play some Marvel Rivals because I did not like the way I was playing yesterday. I don't know what's going on with my game lately, but it felt like when I put all my effort into that final project at work, I just lost all the skill that I learned from Marvel Rivals. So I'm gonna do some gaming of that. I'm not doing cozy gaming today because I'm unironically stuck in Infinity Nikki. Like I'm real. Like I'm actually stuck on Infinity Nikki, and I feel like that's a game that you're not supposed to be stuck on. So I gotta figure out where to go, or wait till one of my streamers like hangs out with me, or one of the members from my chat like tells me where I need to go. So it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. And then yeah, I'm just gonna be ranting about random shit. That's all I'm gonna be doing today. It's gonna be a pretty casual stream. I gotta figure out a way how to engage myself while playing Marvel Rivals. I love that game. I'm like obsessed with it. I am. But I need to engage myself with you guys while I play. So I'm gonna work on that today, I guess. And then also, guys, do you see my wig? Hold on. Let's do a zoom in. Do you see my wig? It looks awful. I need a new wig. For those of y'all who don't know, I am getting. I'm on a very aggressive and strict hair growth journey, and so, and hair health journey. So it's a hair growth and hair health journey, and it's aggressive and it's strict, which means for the next 4 or 5 years, I have no plans and I have no intentions to do anything physically to my hair outside of putting a wig on it, or maybe putting a half wig on and manipulating very, very little it out. Like, I have no intentions, no desires, no interest to wear a sew-in, wear a lace front where you have to do the glue, right? Wearing the box braids and the goddess braids, even though they look very, very beautiful, they do. And we can put a pin in that because there might be conditions. And then I also have no desire to do micro links, girl. Like, for a minute, it was like early 2020. The black girlies were into micro links. And I don't know why y'all think that being into, I'm just gonna keep this on the background because I like it for vibes. I don't know why y'all think that micro links works on y'all's hair texture. I don't know who told you that, and who convinced y'all that micro links works on y'all's hair texture. Let me look up micro links. Yeah, you see this? You see this? Ignore this. Ignore this. Okay, but like that might be a woman of color, but like, look, see the Caucasian hand with the 2B hair texture or 1A hair texture. You see that mess? Those micro links are not for you. And I guess somehow in 2020, early 2020, we convinced ourselves, or no, these IG baddie hairstylists who are trying to get a quick buck off of y'all, convinced y'all and themselves that micro links were good for your hair. Like, you can grow out your hair and it's a great low maintenance hairstyle and it's the most natural your hair is gonna look. Listen. In 2025, we don't need to be talking about whether a black woman's hair is natural or not, because all different types of women from all different types of backgrounds, all different types of shades, they get in hair extensions clipped, glued, strapped onto their hair. All right, we do the sew-ins with the tracks. The white women do this type of shit. Okay, so like, I don't want to hear it. Like, they be getting the hair extensions too, girl. Like, especially if they have money, they be getting that shit too. I remember they had like the hair extension. What was it? The hair extension band. Yeah, this doohickey. Like, what the, like they're literally putting like a hairband. A hairband, like it's a hair weft attached to a string and putting it on their hair. They're doing that, okay? Like, I don't want to hear about, oh, black women need to be in their natural, they need to embrace their natural hair. No, they don't. They really, like, they can do whatever they want with their hair, okay? It's their hair if they bought it. Like, let's just stop the nonsense, right? But like, micro links of all things and tape-in extensions, clip-ins, I guess is okay, but like, I'm talking about micro links and tape-ins, okay? Y'all, if you have a type 3 or type 4 hair texture, I'm gonna go down to 3C and then all type 4 hair texture. You should not be putting that mess in your hair. Like, you just shouldn't. I don't know. I don't. I'm not a hairstylist. I'm not like a licensed cosmetologist, but something in the pit of my stomach, all right, in the intestine area, is telling me that you should not have let these hairdressers convince you that this is the peak optimal low maintenance hairstyle that y'all want it to be. It might be low maintenance and peak and optimal if you have money, right? Because this hairdo can run you $400 for upwards $800 for installation, and then $400 for like upkeep and maintenance every like 6 to 8 weeks or so. But if you don't have $800 money and 6 to 8 week maintenance type money, then you should not be putting this in your hair. And yes, I'm saying this with the worst type of wig on right now that hasn't been detangled since I went to see Miss Giselle in Atlanta. Okay, like yes, I'm gonna tell you that, but like it has good intentions. Okay, don't put microlinks in your hair. Just don't do that. Don't do that. Maybe like clip-ins are okay, but just stick to the rivers and lakes that you're used to. Wear your sew-ins. You know, half wigs. I like half wigs. Wear half wigs, but don't be putting this nonsense in your hair. This isn't for us. Just like with the white women, like they can't wear the micro braids and the cornrows, because if they do, their hair will fall out. Like this shit will make our hair fall out. Okay, so like don't put that in your hair. All right. But anyway, rant aside. Okay. Outside of microlinks, this is a very pretty girl. I think she's very pretty. Anyway, I will not be doing sew-ins, mostly because they are just way too expensive now. I come from a time, yes, I'm old, maybe. I come from a time where sew-ins ran you at most, like sew-ins with like maybe 4 tracks, right? Doubled over so it looks full, and then you have leave out in the front and in the back so you can put it in a ponytail. That would run you about like maybe $150. And now because of inflation, it's like upwards to $300. I'm gonna blame it on inflation and once again entitled hairstylist and IG stylist, right? But like mostly inflation. It's like $300 to get a sew-in. Absolutely not. Like when I've been spoiled in the 2010s to get a sew-in like this type of situation. Let me look up 2010 sew-in. Where sew-ins were looking like this, and you could get this full bust down for like maybe like $150, at most maybe like $200. There's no way that I'm gonna be paying $350, $375 for a sew-in, right? Quick weaves, absolutely not. That's hair glue. We're not doing quick weaves either. Lace fronts, no. The reason why no on lace fronts, a couple of reasons, okay? First reason is I don't know how to install one, and I kind of have a regular sized forehead, so it's not do the webcam. Regular sized forehead. Okay, you see it? So it's not like I put on a lace front and it's coming all the way, like the lace front is supposed to like go over your baby hairs, and it's coming all the way down here, and then I only have this much forehead space, and then it looks really weird, right? So I'm not doing lace fronts. And then on top of that, it itches. Lace fronts itch. It's like a gluey hat. All right, forget all the respectability politics of they look ratchet and you look like a whatever, hood rat, whatever. Like, I don't care. I've seen women who wear lace fronts and they look very, very classy and elegant, and to quite frankly, I love the hood rich aesthetic. I love the hood rich aesthetic. I love the Lil' Kim aesthetic. I love the, you know, colorful neon bright lace front edges. Like this is my this is my shit right here. Like I love this type of stuff, right? I could never really pull it off unless I had like a lot of money to have somebody like help me pull it off. But like I am, oh no, Twitch, girl, no, Twitch disconnected. Okay, I am a big fan of like the hood rich, alternative, hood alt aesthetic, like and like the colorful wigs. And even then, like even if you wear a colorful wig, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're trying to lean into that aesthetic, right? Like you can just be like a clean cut girl with like a neon red wig, and that's okay. But I just like, for me, it never really was about the respectability politic nature of it all. For me, it was always it itches. Like, it was always gonna be like how it felt on my scalp, like and on my head. It itches, and then on top of that, not only does it itch, but like when I take it off, my baby hairs are all gone. They're just gone. And I'm trying to grow them out. And they've been growing out really well, right? So we can't do lace fronts. We can do wigs with bangs, which is what I have on right now, which I need to get another like version of this wig because it's just a mess now. And then we have I have 2 viewers. I have 2 viewers on Twitch, guys. Yay. And then we also have what's it called? Damn, I lost my train of thought. But yeah, lace fronts cannot do. I can wear wigs with bangs. But they can't be a lace front. Like, they have to be like the sensational outre, like the scalp. You can see, like, it's like for the instance, this scalp isn't that like detailed, right? As I show you my musty wig, right? But nothing. I can't do that. Like, let's see what this girl's doing here. Like how she glued the ends down to her closure. I don't know if I could try that. Maybe I could try something like this. But laying it down is the toughest part because I'm trying to protect my baby hairs. Like, if anything, I'm trying to protect my baby hairs. But this is a very cute wig. Very cute. But really, honestly, I'm like, the only things I'm doing to my hair or to style my hair is wearing wigs like this, maybe wearing wigs like this, absolutely wearing wigs like this. Yeah, this wig is really pretty. This is like the Tyla 5000 or the SZA 5000. SZA Tyla 5000, right? Like, maybe like a wig like this where like I can cut the bangs and it's curly, or maybe, let's look at this girl. Yeah. Ooh, girl. When I get employed again, I think this is the first wig I'm gonna get. Hold on, let me save this. This is a nice wig. Shit, how do I bookmark? Bookmark and list. Bookmark this tab. Done. Or I also want half wigs too. So I think Elfin Hair has some really cute half wigs. I really want a kinky straight half wig so I can blow it out and have like that 90s blowout, and then only have like very, very, very little leave out. Just very few leave out, not too much, not doing too much, But I've never been like a lace front scallop type of girl. Is this 13x4 lace front? Can I get a closure? 4x6 pre-cut lace. Okay, good. Okay, yeah, this wig is really pretty. I'm gonna look at it again. And then I'm gonna look at the lady that hit her face. Yeah, definitely something like this. But yeah, I'm doing this all because I am going on a hair growth journey and a hair health journey, which requires me 99.9% of the time to put my hair in a protective style and then protect my ends. So for the past year and a half, my protective style has been either chunky twists or chunky braids. I gather them on the sides, and then I like braid them down to my scalp, and then I will tuck in the ends underneath and put bobby pins so that the ends are not touching my back, and then I'll just leave it like that until I have to take it down again. And now that I'm actually practicing really good, health care or hair care, and detangling strategies and, hair washing methods, I focus a lot on, taking my time with detangling. So I'm not breaking off my hair and using conditioner the way I need to, and cleaning my hair and keeping it moisturized when it's up and away, whether it's by water or like grease. Really, a lot of the natural hair girlies, natural hairstylists and girlies have been saying that like grease is like blue magic. Maybe not blue magic specifically, but more of like a holistic, all natural grease that has the same texture like blue magic are probably going to fare a lot better than you for you than a lot of these hair care brands that are out now. I'm not gonna like name drop any, but a lot of I feel like my big conspiracy about the natural hair care product space is that a lot of those products are good for you, but you don't really need a lot of. Like, you could probably get away with using 2 or 3 really good products for your porosity and then just consistently using them on a daily basis for styling and whatever, and then being on your way, because a lot of these hair care products they're businesses, and they are selling you a dream, and they are in the interest of keeping you you and having you in a position where you have to buy their products. A good example is the Mayel hair growth oil, which Mayel has had their controversies. Mayel rosemary oil, yeah. Like, I believe that this scalp oil is really good. Every time I use an oil and I massage my scalp with it, I just realize that it just doesn't fare well, not only on my scalp, but also on my skin. This whole top half of my hair will break out, or my head will break out. But a lot of these hair growth oils and these Ayurvedic herbal oils and the 12, 13, 15, 16 herbs that you put in your hair, right? And you scalp and you massage it for like 15 minutes at a time. A lot of them are mostly in the interest, like they probably are, they could be very good for you, but mostly they're trying to get a hype around convincing you that you need long, healthy, natural hair. And they're selling you a dream on that, when in actuality, you might not be able to get healthy hair because your diet is doo-doo, or you have an iron deficiency. That was my biggest issue. Or you have a vitamin D deficiency. You need to get your iron and vitamin D up before you even consider wanting to grow your hair long, because your hair could be long, but it'll break off every single time, and it'll start shedding a lot. You know what I mean? Or even like these weird methods. Like, for a second, there was like the inversion method, where you stand on the edge of your bed and you let you stand on the edge of your bed and you just let your scalp hang like this, and then hopefully like you're supposed to gain like 6 inches of growth in like a month or something crazy like that. A lot of these methods and gimmicks and products are meant to sell you a dream, and meant to brainwash you, honestly, into thinking that like long hair equals better hair, when in actuality, healthy hair equals better hair. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I'd say Mayel's a good, not really like a good example. No. Mayel's a good example of this, because they really took off based off of their mint scalp and hair strengthening oil. And then after that, I just kept seeing oils, Ayurvedic oils after Ayurvedic oils come out. And I've just been like, dang. This is crazy. And another thing is, a lot of the herbs that these oils are made up of, you should probably be putting those herbs inside of your body. Like, the herbs that these oils are made up of would do better for you internally than externally. So, for example, I drink rosemary tea every single day with like fenugreek tea, right? Great. Works wonders, great. Like, my hair has gotten really thick from just drinking rosemary tea. But like the rosemary trend in a lot of natural hair care brands, right, I think originated from Mayel. I feel as if they are good. Like, rosemary is good for you, but it would be a lot better if you just ingested it. You know what I mean? It's like if you have a skin problem, right? Or if you have acne and you think the best way to heal the acne is to not touch it, actually get to the root of the problem at all, and just keep trying products after products, when it's like, no, maybe you need to not eat so many french fries, maybe you need to eat a little bit healthier, maybe you need to drink more water instead of soda. And then the skincare products will help, but like internally you're doing the work to set your face up to be ready to handle the whatever Korean skincare or regular skincare products you want to use. I feel like it's the same with hair. You're not healthy enough, you're not eating your fruits and your vegetables in the way you should do, you're not drinking water, you haven't checked with a doctor or a medical professional, or just did a simple blood panel to see if you're deficient in any vitamins and nutrients. And maybe that's what you need in order for your hair to grow thicker, you know, and healthier. And then also, I know I said that I was on like a hair growth and health journey. I want to switch that around a bit. I'm actually on a hair health and hair growth journey. I've had long hair before, or like hair that was like to the middle of my back, but it wasn't healthy. I'm more so worried about my hair health over hair growth. And so I'm very focused on, okay, how much is my hair shedding? How much is, like, how does this product work with my hair? I have low porosity hair, so that means that I can't use protein treatments. And for whatever reason, my L just doesn't work with my hair texture. As I am, though. As I am works. And especially, like, this hair care line, like, this works. But sometimes, like, the leave-in conditioners, like, they itch my scalp. So I don't know what's going on with that. Kinky Curly works for my hair. Like this brand, especially the Come Clean, works excellent for my hair. And then last but not least, I know everyone has opinions about this brand, but I am a Shea Moisture girly. It just works for me, especially the Manuka Honey line that's out right now. Those deep conditioning masks work for me. If Shea Moisture called me tomorrow and said, hey, we want to work with you, I'd be like, okay. I like Shea Moisture's products. I'm so sorry. I also like, this is another girly pop that I love. Camille Rose. Love Camille Rose. Camille Rose products work great on my hair too. And then to shout out small businesses, I used to use I use Aruba Botanicals, and I actually have to get their plant-based hair grease. But I really like Aruba Botanicals. They specialize in Ayurvedic herbs, the 12 different herbs that are used to help grow your hair. But it's more of like natural and holistic. There's not a lot of chemicals. It's a small business. Love me a small business. I bought their herbal scalp serum, and it worked for some time, and then my scalp started itching, so I had to stop. And my skin started breaking out, so I had to stop. But it worked for a minute. But what I also really want from them is probably this grease alternative, because I know the ingredients are going to be natural, and I'm using grease to kind of moisturize my hair and set it and forget it. And then I also might want to give their herbal hair rinse a try. I might give that a try, see how my head responds, or my hair responds to herbal hair rinses. But yeah, because I am on a really intense hair growth journey, I am just wearing a lot of wigs, and I know we're entering an era where, I don't know, on my side of the internet, they're encouraging Black girls to just wear their hair natural, and that, like, I've heard wacky conspiracy theories about how it's like harmful and borderline, if you want to get Facebook auntie with it, demonic, that you're wearing your hair in wigs, and that it's like some social political issue where, you know, if you wear your hair straight, you're not embracing your natural hair, and it's a psyop to get Black women to hate themselves. It's just crazy conspiracy theories. Crazy conspiracy theories, right? And I'm just kind of sitting there. I see them every so often. Sometimes I listen to one and I'm just like, girl, okay. Like, there are people in Gaza that are starving, and you're over here worried about whether or not a woman wants to wear a wig. Like, priorities, you know? So, yeah. So boho braids or box braids, or what they call them, the pick and drop. Pick and drop braids. These braids. Oh, look, baby Beyonce. But yeah, these types of braids. Yes, I would get something like this. I before braids were trending, I would get the tree braids. I love me some tree braids. So definitely would probably get a tree braid. But honestly, I'd have to learn how to do it myself. I don't trust a lot of hair dressers. Like, I just don't. Oh, Cynthia Bailey. The Bailey tree braids. These are really, really pretty. Yeah, I would definitely get tree braids. And I'd honestly, I would get this hair color too. I like having like bits of blonde and black in my hair and brown. So I'd get that hair color too. I might want to bookmark this. The Bailey tree braids. Ready to use, install, anti-itch. Is this Cynthia Bailey's site? So, all right. So for those of you guys who don't know who Cynthia Bailey is, she was on the Real Housewives of Atlanta. I don't know if this is her site. I don't know what this is, but I do like the Bailey tree braids, so I'm gonna yeah, I'm gonna bookmark this because I would like my hair to look like this one day. Maybe if I take a trip to Puerto Rico, I'd like my hair to look like this. All right. So more tools, cast, save, share, bookmarks. Looking like a real boomer right now, trying to bookmark stuff. Okay. Yeah, but these braids are really pretty, and I really like the color. But also, like, crochet braids is something I'm really interested in getting because it has your hair in cornrows, and then they like weave the hair through the cornrows, so it's completely protected. That is something I'm definitely interested in, and maybe in the style of this. I think this style would be really pretty, but I'd also think that ooh, okay. But I also think that having it in a color like this would be a lot cuter. Or maybe like a calico color. I like calico braids. Yeah, like something like this. I think this would be cool. Like red, black, and gray. Like that would be red, black, and gray. Blonde, red, and black. I think that would be cooler. Blonde and blonde and brown and black. I think that would work for me. All right, so yeah. Anyways, not really into the box braid phase right now. Not really into the box braids right now, only because I just don't want people in my hair that much. I don't want people playing in my hair too much, and so, and box braids are also really expensive too. But they're cute. When I see people get them done, they're really cute. If I learned how to do box braids, perhaps. But I'm really like a fan of crochet braids, tree braids, and half wigs and wigs with bangs. So that's what I'm leaning towards as I keep my hair braided down and keep my hair protected. So yeah. And then I feel like whoever I do the crochet braids with, I'd get very, very nervous that they would, I don't know, mess it up. Like I'd have to ask them, like, or do like a one-on-one with them or a consultation to be like, are you gentle with my hair? Are you in the business of keeping my hair healthy, or are you in the business of just giving me a nice hairstyle so that you can post on your IG? Like, I don't know. Hairdressers like scare me now. So many horror stories I hear on TikTok. People are just, they don't know good customer service anymore. Damn, I sound like a boomer. Let me expand on that thought, okay? Because from what I do know, that there is something trending now called the, what is it? The Gen Z stare. Oh, this poor kid, the Gen Z stare, which I guess is basically, the stare Gen Z gives you when you say something stupid or when they just can't do it with you anymore. Like, they can't deal with you or get with you. And, like, you know what? Low key, I respect it. Like, I get it. Like, I'm tired. Like, I'm just tired. I can't deal with you. I can't deal with your Karen mannerisms as I get you your burger from McDonald's. I can't deal with you crashing out because you didn't get your caramel macchiato with 5 pumps of vanilla. Even though you didn't say you wanted 5 pumps of vanilla. So I'm just going to stare at you. And you know what? I respect it, right? I do. But when you do run a business, I just want to say this. I just want to say this. And this isn't for Gen Z. This is for everyone. And I think everyone who has been influenced by social media and, has a business that is on social media that gains traction that way, and you've been able to get a lot of your clientele that way. I just need you to understand that we're not doing you a favor, okay? Or I'm sorry, we're doing you a favor, all right? It's not the other way around, all right? It's not that you're doing a favor for us. We're doing a favor for you and keeping you in business. Okay? So when you price gouge, when you're doing quick weaves for $300 a pop, knowing full well it only takes like 15 to 45 minutes to put on your head and have them buy the hair, right? Or bring the hair, right? Or when you're saying that you can do a box braid or boho braid hairstyle if you quote unquote or if you come wash and blow dried, right? Which already tells me that you're probably not licensed, which is why you need us to come wash, blow dried, and detangled or whatever, right? When you're late, when you have stylists who will tell you super last minute, like the day of, I'm so sorry, love, I have to cancel the appointment, it's an emergency. Like, people aren't going to want to work with you anymore, and people aren't going to want to use your services anymore. And it's gotten so bad to the point where people are going on social media and are like, this hairstylist, she did me dirty. She played in my face, and I'm going to call her out. You know what I mean? Or call them out. So just a news flash to a lot of like entrepreneurs and hairstylists out there, okay? Especially if you're leveraging the internet and you get a lot of clientele from the internet, y'all gotta learn couth, and y'all gotta learn professionalism, and y'all gotta learn marketing, and y'all gotta learn your clientele, okay? Just because you worked on Candy Burris's mother's cousin twice removed does not mean that you automatically need to up your prices to celebrity prices to match like celebrity stylists, and when your whole clientele is a bunch of 9-to-5 girly pops, like cater and pander to the 9-to-5 girls who can actually afford, a $250 to $300 box braid set. You know what I mean? Or maybe, a $200 sew-in. Like, why are you charging $800 for a silk press? That's another thing. Back in my day, silk presses were called wash-in sets, and they went for like $50 to $60. Now they're called silk presses, and they're like $125. $125, $150. They're tacking on extra fees for length. Like, girl, don't play in my face. Like, if you want consistent clientele, okay, and you don't want to just do it for the gram, you gotta have that level of professionalism. There was that one girl who got into a fight with her 15-year-old client. 18-year-old girl got into a fight with her 15-year-old client because her client was about to walk out on her. She was about to walk out on her, and she had already did her hair because that client said that the money she didn't have the money on hand. And so I guess she was gonna like run to the ATM and get the money, or she was just gonna hit and run. I don't know. But the money that she did have, she sent it to the incorrect Cash App. So she was like, I'm so sorry. I got to figure this out. I got to reach out to my brother. And then she like hit and run, right? And so there's video footage of the stylist dragging the 15-year-old girl by the hair back into the salon and then cutting the hair out of her head. And this would be all fine and dandy if the hairdresser did not post. If the hairdresser, 18-year-old hairdresser, did not post it on social media. Because why are you posting that shit on social media? For a moment? Do you want a moment? That's the real reason why like people do this type of shit. Is because they just want the moment. Right? Like they think Baddies is real life, and it's not. Okay, y'all should stop watching Baddies. I definitely do believe it's high key a psyop. Stop watching Baddies. Okay, you need to stop watching it and thinking that like any press is good press. So I'm gonna post what happens when you don't pay me for my services. I'm gonna post it online, embarrass this 15-year-old girl, embarrass this minor. Let's talk about it. Embarrass this minor, and lower my professionalism. Because like if I'm seeing that as like a 31-year-old, if I see that on social media of you like giving the 1-2 piece and throwing bows with a 15-year-old as an adult, technically, I'm not gonna want to go to your salon. You know, because my first question is, okay, so who posted this? Like, was this just installed in the building and like maybe a security guard posted this? But when I find out that you did, it's just like, okay, girl, okay, so you need a moment. So I don't want to work with a social media hairdresser, right? But also, what if you're just having a bad day? Like, what if you're having a bad day and you're mad? And how are you gonna react to me if like, you know, I ask like, hey, I don't want my hair like this, I actually want it like that, or hey, can you do my hair this way, or hey, I don't really like that color. Are you gonna crash? Like, no, absolutely not. Lo and behold, because the plot thickens, we find out that this girl had the 15-year-old girl actually had a card on file that was charged before the whole Cash App debacle. So regardless, the hairdresser was going to be charged, like she was going to get paid for the service. Right? And so you went through all of these gyrations. You dragged this girl back into your salon, which I like, okay, so I get people running out and walking out on you in the salon. That's not okay, right? You cut her hair, you're rough with her, but then you proceed to post it on social media for a moment to be like, hey, y'all, don't play with me, you know. I don't know, girl. I don't know, okay? And then when you get interviewed by like the Shade Room News Department, right? Or the Shade Room News source, news line on the internet, you come out and say, oh, well, her card was already charged. Her card was already linked to the service, so I was able to get the money anyway. So you did all of that for what? All of that for a moment? Bruh, get it together. Get it together. People are like, oh, well, they're kind of close in age, so it's no. Like, if you're grown enough to start a business, right? And you're 18, okay? Then you're grown enough to know how to be professional and how to carry yourself accordingly, okay? Like, I understand that there are people out here taking advantage of hairstylists and taking advantage of service providers, but you also have to have a professionalism and couth about you that I feel like the era that we live in with social media makes it a lot more difficult for you to have, because people are so hungry for a moment and so hungry to go viral, you know, and it's just it's never worth it. Like, you always want to go viral or be known for a moment that is positive, not one that is gonna like embarrass you down the line. You know what I mean? Or ruin your business clientele. You know? I also, staying on the topic of hair, since we're like 45 minutes into me ranting about hair, I also don't trust a lot of natural hairstylists. It's not just stylists who are here for the, you know, the vibes and just want to do like crazy elaborate styles, whether it's wigs, whether it's braids, whether it's you know, just caring more so about the style of the hair, not really caring a lot about the actual health of the hair. Some of these natural hairstylists be trying it too. They do. There was a natural hairstylist cut 6 inches of hair who had there was a natural hairstylist who had ended up cutting 6 inches of a woman's hair who was about to enter in the Guinness World Record for largest afro. And that is like my biggest fear. And it was a free service, I think, or like she wanted to collab with this like natural hair girly. She was like a natural hair content creator, so she wanted to collab and offer her services for free. That in and of itself, something I would never do. I would not let anybody play around in my hair for free because I don't know, maybe it's like an unspoken agreement that they think that they have full autonomy to do whatever they want with my hair. No, you're not playing in my hair for free. I'm gonna pay you your worth. But also, I guess because, you know, you get into a situation when you are in the chair where you feel super uncomfortable like speaking up when something doesn't feel right. And I think now, especially since I'm very like particular about how my hair looks, like me protecting my hair and honoring the health of my hair, I will almost immediately be like, you can't play in my hair. I can pay you half for the service, but I can pay you half for the service or however much I need, but you cannot play in my hair like that. I need to go. Like, you cannot cut my hair. You're not going to cut my hair off. Like, I need to go. Okay? Like, I'm so sorry. Which is also why I'm like very particular of who puts box braids in my hair, or why I prefer crochets over box braids, you know what I mean? But you know, this girl sat in the chair, and this was a natural hairstylist that had over 20 years of experience, and she's telling this girl, yeah, I wanted you to come I wanted you to come washed, but I didn't want you to put any moisturizer or any conditioner in your hair. And then as the girl is going through the service and she's filming it for TikTok, the natural hairstylist of 20 years of experience, mind you, flips it on her and says, okay, so why didn't you moisturize your hair? And, you know, she uses a lot of fluffy words to make it look like she knows what she's doing or she knows what she's talking about, which maybe she does, and maybe she's not used to dealing with that much hair. But she flips it on her and she's like, so why didn't you moisturize your hair? Why did you come here unmoisturized? And so the girl is like, well, that's what you told me to do. You told me to come here, wash my hair, unmoisturized, because you needed to analyze like the true texture of my hair without any product in it. And the stylist expert is like, yeah, but in this case, I would have wanted you to use your intuition and use your gut and know what works for your hair. You can't always rely on hairstylists to give you the best advice. You have to know your hair enough to know what works for you. So she just turned it back on her. And when I saw that, and you could see like on the face of the girl, like how uncomfortable she was, that this woman was just hacking off her hair and like putting the blame and shifting the blame on her. But like that in and of itself, no way. Because you're not gonna sit up here and tell me what I can and can't do with my hair. You're not gonna sit up here and tell me, oh, well, you should have came moisturized. No, that's what you told me. You told me to come unmoisturized, so I came unmoisturized. That's how my hair looks. Now, if you wanted me to put in moisture, you should have written it in the blurb when we were messaging each other. But like, yeah, hairstylists do that. And hairstylists who aren't used to dealing with a lot of hair, you know, they'll end up cutting off way more than they're prepared for, because they just don't know how to style or deal with like longer hair of type 4 hair textures. You know what I mean? So it's not just like IG stylists that are trying to do super elaborate styles and only care about the style and the gram and not the health. It's also these natural hairstylists too that I'm very particular of, where I'm just like, you absolutely need to know what you're doing. You cannot give me the bullshit, okay? If I tell you I don't want you to cut my hair, you can't, like, you're not cutting my hair. Like, that's point blank. You can't convince me or finesse me. Right now I've been trimming my own hair and it's fine. And the hairstylists that I've gone to now, they're like a holistic natural hairstylists who only, like, they really only care about the hair health and repairing hair and not so much like length. And the last time I went to them, they said that my ends were good, there was no issues, there was no troubles, to come visit them again in 6 months, which I might do. I visited them in March, and it's July now, so March, April, May, June, July. So maybe I might visit them, I might not. I might visit them towards the end of the year, it depends on how I'm feeling. But yeah, they're pretty chill. They're very, you know, I got a very simple, like, natural hairstyle, just mini twists, chunky twists, you know. So I like them because they're like no bullshitting. Like, they're not gonna try and sell you a dream of having like super long hair length. They're in the business of keeping your hair healthy. So, but yeah, a lot of these natural hairstylists, they'll be out here playing in your face, bro. Playing in your face. I wonder if I can find the video. Calling themselves experts, but you've never dealt with like 30 inches of like type 4C hair. So now you're crashing out. I don't know if they have it. It happened like months ago, but I was just like distraught for the girl because you could tell that this woman did not know what she was doing. Like, you could just tell. I know the African Hair God, he talked about it, and I don't know. He talked about it, and he mentioned how, and he did a commentary on it, on like how the hairstylist messed up. But yeah. Anyway, moving on, because I'm gonna lose my train of thought. That's just something I wanted to discuss. That's just something I wanted to yap about. Yes. Ooh, I guess I can talk about the 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, because I finished the book, and I hear that Netflix is gonna make a movie out of it. They're gonna make a movie out of the book. And so this book is bisexual, the novel, okay? Like, I don't mean to come in like spoiling it, but like it's like bisexuality, bi curiosity, the novel, and it's good. But now I'm like, I remember telling y'all that I love Evelyn Hugo. Like, I love her, I want to be her, she's super iconic, blah blah blah. Now looking back, I don't know if I love her as much anymore. I don't know if I do. I think that I respect her and her hustle, but I don't know if I'd want to be someone like her, because I don't know. She just gives toxic bisexual energy. So, and so I can see how queer people would like look at the book and they'd be like, "Oh, this is not." I can see how the Willows would look at the book and be like, "This isn't good." Like, but to sum up the plot, I guess, and spoilers, like, skip ahead or like get off of this VOD so you don't get spoiled by the plot. But Evelyn Hugo is a Cuban immigrant in the 1950s or the 1960s who's trying to make it as a Hollywood actress in like old time glamour Hollywood. So think Marilyn Monroe, Grace Kelly, Sophia Loren, like those type of actresses. She's trying to be one of them. She comes from nothing. Her mom was a sex worker and a performer, and she ends up dying. And eventually, she is of age, so I think 14 or 15. She lies about her age. She develops at a very, very early age as well, which she realizes that she can leverage in a way to get what she wants. Her first experience is with a young boy at the Five and Dime, or a high school boy at the Five and Dime when she's like age 12. And him saying that, like haggling her to like show her boobs. Trigger warning, okay? Haggling her to show her boobs at like 12 or 13. And so she's like, okay, well, if you want to see my boobs, then you gotta get me some candy, you know? So she's already on that game, unfortunately. And so that's what he does. And then he says something like, oh, you have this power over me, I can't control myself, which is like the biggest ick, dude. Yes, you can. Okay, like first of all, go do what 1950s high schoolers were doing back in the day. Okay, just go do that, all right? Whatever y'all were doing, whether it was going to the diner and listening to doo-wop music with your poodle skirts and greaser jackets, like go, like you don't need to be you don't need to be antagonizing and harassing and coercing minors to see their boobs, okay? But then from there, she learns how to leverage her sexuality and her appeal to get what she wants, and eventually, through the story of the seven husbands that she's interacted with, she talks about her success in Hollywood, and she's telling this to a up-and-coming journalist, or an amateur journalist named Monique Grant, who is trying to get a story from Evelyn Hugo for her journalist company or newspaper company called The Variant. So kind of like Time magazine, but fictional, you know? And so she's trying to like interview Evelyn Hugo to get her, or Evelyn Hugo reaches out to Variant to specifically get Monique Grant onto the story. Like, Evelyn Hugo wants this girl, and Monique's manager, Frankie, is like, okay, well, you gotta do this, but, you know, get all that you need from her, figure out why she wants to, you know, interview you specifically. And then when Monique meets Evelyn Hugo, Evelyn has like conditions, and she basically says, I am willing to tell you my whole life story, all of my truth, all of my honesty of why I am the way I am, how the seven husbands have come to be. But I can only give my story to you. You cannot give this story to Variant, and you must make this into a novel, like a non-fictional novel about my life, like that. Like, I'm giving you this power to tell my memoir, and to not only tell my to write my memoir, but to kickstart your career as a well-renowned journalist in this field. And so Monique is kind of shy, and she's like, I don't know if I want to do that. Oh no. And then Evelyn like tells her like a bit of her life story, and basically teaches her like you have to go get it, right? Like you have to get what you want, do what you need to do. Eventually, Monique leverages power from her boss Frankie, or her manager Frankie, and basically says, okay, so I can get Evelyn to model for you the front cover of Variant, but I get to write the book with her. And if I am able to get Evelyn to model for the front cover of Variant, then I get a raise. I get a raise at work, and I get to write this book in memoir. And so she's able to get what she wants by playing the game, which Evelyn teaches her. And we realize that through Evelyn Hugo, through the seven husbands that she has, she's actually, like, the first two husbands, first husband was to get her ass out of New York and into Hollywood so she can start her career. The second husband was, when she's, like, in Hollywood, was, like, this romanticized version of what she thinks, like, heterosexual relationships and nuclear relationships should be in, like, the 1950s, right? And then she realizes that, like, what is it, Don Adler is beating on her? Like, he's you know, it's not, like, he's laying hands on her, which isn't good. And eventually she ends up divorcing him. But through that, she meets another young actress named Celia St. James, and they end up in a romantic entanglement of sorts. And so, really, the seven husbands of Evelyn are a means, like, some of them are a means to cover up the romantic queer relationship she has with Celia St. James, because it's the 1950s and they're homophobic AF. They're not gonna let Evelyn, openly be with Celia St. James, right? And Celia St. James is a lesbian, which is already just like, I don't know. I don't really I don't really appreciate. Sometimes I don't really appreciate how bisexuals could be portrayed when dating lesbians. I don't know. I don't know if I could say that. I'm not trying to say that on like some you're biphobic. Like, no, I'm just saying like it always ends up being very toxic very quickly, and it always ends up like the bisexual character is like begrudgingly unlikable and antagonistic and just disrespecting the lesbian in the relationship. I don't know. I just don't like that song. I don't like it. You know what I mean? It makes me uncomfortable. Like, where are the healthy bisexual relationships where, the bisexual is like healthy and not toxic and not antagonistic, right? Like, Evelyn is really antagonistic, and she thinks that if she gives up her body to men, that she can protect her and Celia from being exposed to the dailies, or I guess in their times, like the blogs, think Shade Room for the 1950s, so that they won't find out about their romantic relationship. Because now there's talks in Hollywood that Celia might be a little, and Celia, like, again, being queer, openly queer in the 1950s, like, glamour Hollywood, old Hollywood is not, like, you're not gonna have a career, right? And so she gives her body to men that I guess she doesn't really appreciate in order to protect the relationship between her and Celia St. James. And they end up breaking off because of it and getting back together and breaking off again because of it. But throughout the book, I'm realizing some of the decisions that Evelyn had made were like incredibly selfish and not accounting for the feelings of Celia St. James at all. Like, she's just over here like, oh, I'll sleep with this dude unprotected and get pregnant, and then just convince Celia that, oh, I did this so that the dailies would get off our back so we can live a safe lifestyle, right? And then Celia's like, girl, no. No, we're in a relationship. We're in a committed relationship. And then eventually they have like some semblance of a family where Celia is in a lavender marriage with a linebacker or quarterback, and Evelyn has married her gay, closeted gay, or like not even closeted, just like secretive gay, producer Harry Cameron, and they moved to the Upper East Side of New York, Manhattan, and start a life for themselves there. And then Evelyn finally decides, you know what, I'm gonna have a kid. I'm gonna have a kid with Harry Cameron. And so she lets Celia know, and Celia's just like, so you're gonna sleep with Harry Cameron and have a kid? And she's like, yeah. And Celia's like, girl, no. No, we're in a relationship. Because even though Celia St. James is in this lavender marriage, she's dating Evelyn, and Harry Cameron, Evelyn's husband, is dating Celia St. James's husband, because they're both gay too. So they're like in this weird gay, it's not even weird, it's cute, like, but this interesting, queer dynamic that would make a lot of sense in the 1960s and 70s given the current political climate, right? And so so Evelyn gets pregnant. And then like the final nail on the coffin, because you could tell Celia's getting pissed, right? Like, she feels like she's slighted, like a lot of attention is going to the baby and Harry. Like, the baby isn't the problem, but like Harry, like this dude that is obviously gay that you don't have too much interest in, but you're getting with him anyway. Like she's just a little vexed and irritated, and I think she has every right to be vexed and irritated, mind you. I think she has every right to. Okay, like I stand by Celia St. James. All right, and then finally, Evelyn Hugo is like, I guess, getting older, and she needs a career like changing move, or not even getting older. She just needs a role that'll help her get an Oscar because she's an actress first, right? And like these husbands are what help her get like in talks for movies and get people talking about her and get people watching her movies, right? So she decides that she is going to hit up her ex-husband that has been laying hands on her. Ex-husband that has been laying hands on you. Why are you hitting up your ex-husband that has been laying hands on you and trying to get him his big breaks? No, kick rocks, please. Punch the rocks. Football punt the rocks, okay? Like, Jesus Christ. And so he needs a chance in Hollywood again because he's on the wayside. He's getting older. He has an alcoholic addiction. And so they work together on this movie with one of her directors and that she knows, who kind of helped get her into like these super provocative roles. You know what I mean? And so the director asks her to do an explicit sex scene with her ex-husband because it would help like shape the film. It would get, I guess, Evelyn an Oscar. You know, it would change the way people would look at her as an actress, but it would also change the way people would look at like cinema. You know, he like has this vision for her. Like, Evelyn's his muse and he has the vision, you know? And so she's like, without even discussing anything with Celia at all, girl, without even discussing anything with Celia at all, anything with Celia at all, anything, nothing with Miss Celia. She's just like, okay, yeah, let's do it. So she's doing a sex scene with her ex-husband that has been laying hands on her. First of all, he's giving him this opportunity, right, to work with her, which I guess opportunistic for her, I guess, in the time in Hollywood, and I guess if you're in the entertainment industry, honestly, because, you know, she needs the Oscar, she needs the notoriety. Her notoriety is dwindling a little bit, and Celia St. James is taking off because Celia St. James is just naturally a really talented actress, right? So Evelyn is just like, okay, girl, yeah, let's do this scene, but she doesn't discuss it with Celia about like whether or not it's okay for her to do a sexually explicit scene with her ex-husband Don Adler. And so she does it, and then she comes home and she's like, hey, Celia, like she's like, girl, hey, what if I did a sex scene with my ex-husband? And Celia's like, girl, no. She's like, I can't do it. Bitch, I can't do it. No, I can help you get, you know, A-list roles. I can put in a good word for you. You know, if it's an Oscar, if it's like serious roles you want, like, I just can't do it, girl. And guess what Evelyn says? Oh, I already did it. Bitch, I did it. And so then Celia leaves. Celia's like, girl, bye. She divorces her football gay football husband, and then she just leaves and goes back to California, and they move on. And then eventually they reconnect, you know, but a lot of time has passed, and Evelyn's like begging for her back, and Celia's like, girl, we're not doing this. And I'm like, good for you, Celia, because you do not deserve that. You don't, ma'am, you don't. But I think the problem, like, the book ultimately ends with them ending up together, but like everybody dying in Evelyn's life. And I think if you're reading this book in hopes of siding with a femme fatale type of character, you will not initially understand or realize the character flaws in Evelyn Hugo and how she isn't a good person. And even she does, like, even before, like, the really bad moment where she tells Monique Grant, okay, spoilers, that Harry Cameron, when he moves on from the football player and he sees another guy, it was actually Monique Grant's dad who had passed away from a drunk driving incident. And that's why she wanted Monique Grant back into her life so that she can kind of give her some peace of mind. And that's why she was giving her the opportunity to tell her memoir and to write her memoir and tell her story of who she really was as a person, right? Because she wanted to, I guess, make amends in her own somewhat entitled way based off of, you know, some of the toxic, oh, that's nicer. Based off of some of the toxic things that she's done in her life. You know what I mean? And the awful things she's done. I think they frame Monique Grant's dad, like they save Harry and they leave Monique Grant's father in the car. They don't save him, so they leave him for D. And then Harry Cameron ends up passing away anyway. And so, like, Evelyn Hugo's one friend is gone. Like, one best friend outside of Celia St. James is gone. Celia and St. James finally connect again. But now Celia's on board for, like, Evelyn, like, you know, marrying all these people. You know what I mean? Marrying all these people, all these men, in order to cover up who she really is. So Celia gets it. Celia understands. And so, and Celia's dying also from COPD. And so they live the later end stages of their lives with each other. Celia ends up passing away. And then Evelyn's daughter ends up passing away. Girl, I'm telling you everything about this book. Make sure you skip over this part if you don't want to hear all the details. But Evelyn's daughter ends up passing away too from breast cancer. And then eventually Evelyn, like, in present time, she takes her own life and she passes away because she also has terminal breast cancer as well. And so she basically dies alone, right? But like I said, if you view this book, if you are going in with the idea that you want to view this book as Evelyn Hugo being like this anti-heroic, troubled character, you can. The only catch is that even before Evelyn lets Monique Grant know that she left her father for dead, Evelyn just wasn't a good person. Like, she was very selfish. She only cared about herself. And I'd almost argue that she really didn't love Celia St. James. Maybe she was in, how do you say it? In, performing what she felt love was, but I don't think she truly was in love with her. I think, you know, the heart grows fonder with distance. So the less time they spent together, the more easier it was for her to yearn for her and want to be with her. But I genuinely think that Evelyn Hugo, like, if they were to be in a serious relationship together, Evelyn would have ran Celia St. James ragged just with some of the actions that she was doing. Or they would just fall out of love with each other. I don't think they would truly, like, stay in love with each other. I also think that some of the things she does, for example, when the dailies come out and say, oh, well, Evelyn is, you know, she's scissoring Celia. What are we gonna do? She's a queer, you know? Evelyn's like, okay, I'm gonna marry another guy. Mick Riva wants to marry me. He wants me to be his wife. I'm gonna marry him and this shoddy, like, LA trip. Let's do it, girl. Let's do it, right? And she does it, but then she ends up sleeping with him, which I feel like there would have been a way for her to get that man to marry her without having to sleep with him. And she does this to get the dailies off of her back so that her and Celia can just live a life together in peace. But then ends up getting pregnant. And that's another thing. You're not responsible. Like, why didn't you wrap it up if you knew you weren't gonna, like, want to be with this dude? For real, like that. So she ends up getting pregnant, ultimately getting an abortion, which is, like, good on her. Like, that's her life. She can do what she wants. But at the end of the day, it's like, girl, You did, like, you're in a relationship with Celia and you're out here entertaining these dudes. You're out here entertaining these niggas. These niggas. Like, what? Toxic bisexual energy. Toxic bisexual energy. I don't like it. I don't like it. And so after reading this book a second time and kind of looking at it through the lens of, you know, Celia, St. James, I'm kind of like, dang, Celia, you didn't deserve that type of love. But girl, if that's what you want, girl, if that's what you need. And I think because and okay, this is another thing. Like, I don't mean to like shit on the author Taylor Jenkins Reid, but she is also bisexual, I guess. But I think this book is written in a way where it's rationalizing the decisions of Evelyn without like really understanding how toxic they can be or how hurtful they can be. And like I've said before, like, art isn't supposed to make you feel good. Art isn't supposed to like hold your hand or spoon feed you. There's always an opportunity for you to, and an encouragement for you to interpret art in the way you see it, whether it's literacy, whether it's movies, whether it's comics, whether it's illustrations, paintings, whatever. Like, art can't handhold you. You know, like, you have to come to your own conclusions on your own. Otherwise, I believe you're not making super, like, really good art. You know, like, you might be able to tell a story, but like, if you're trying to make a commentary or something groundbreaking or making something that people have to think about, then your art has to be complex. It has to make people uncomfortable. And so I can kind of see that in some of the writing that Taylor Jenkins Reid has done. But I think in the end, when Celia just kind of rolled, to me, it felt like she just rolls over and is like, you know what? I actually really love you, so let's fake another marriage, this time with my brother who knows that I'm gay, in like the 1980s or the 1990s, where nobody like, people, like, if I feel like in the 90s, if you were like a 1950s actress, I don't think people would care that much that you're gay then. Like, granted, it was like severely homophobic back then, okay? Even though I probably wasn't thought of until 94, it was probably really homophobic back then, and it's not that bad now. I feel like I just feel like you could have came out and nobody would have blinked an eye. Like, people would have been like, okay, girl, like, okay, all right, happy Pride. Like, I don't know. Maybe that's like my entitlement. I don't know. But just Celia, the end, when Celia is rolling over and it's just basically like, okay, so we're gonna fake another marriage and we're gonna move to Spain and we're gonna spend our time together, and we're gonna spend my last years. I want to spend my last years with you. I want to be with you. I want to actually be married to you. You know what I mean? I don't know. It just, like, I know she loves Evelyn, but I just want better for her. Like, she doesn't deserve that. Because it's feeding into Evelyn's selfishness. It's feeding into Evelyn being a selfish POS. And basically, if she grovels hard enough, chasing Celia St. James back, and Celia just taking her, you know? You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe I'm in the wrong. But I do hear that a movie is in talks. Like, they're gonna make a movie. I just don't know with who and what streaming service. So Netflix is going to adapt it. And they have a new director. Maggie Betts, which I'm gonna look up who Maggie Betts is. Okay, yes, and they directed The Burial, which got 7.1 on IMDb and 92% on Rotten Tomatoes. So obviously she's good at what she does. Okay. Yes, the movie The Burial is based on, this is AI overview. Okay. I'm petty. In 1995, financially troubled home funeral homeowner Jeremiah Joseph O'Keefe is forced to sell parts of his business to meet financial demands by the Mississippi Insurance Commission after leaving. Okay, so if this show did well, maybe she can do well with this movie. But personally, I don't think that this book should be a movie. I think it needs to be a series in order to get all of the understanding of what this book is about, right? Like, it needs to at least 7 episodes to show 7 husbands, right? And then maybe like a last episode to end things off in a pretty bow. Taking over from Leslie Headland, who confirmed her departure for it. So Leslie Headland was working on the film, but she left. Betts will also co-write the script alongside Little Fires Everywhere showrunner Liz Tigler. Okay, so Little Fires Everywhere was good. I like that show. I go back to that show every couple of years. That's like my comfort show. Kerry Washington and Reese Witherspoon did their thing on that show. So Little Fires Everywhere was good. So Liz Tigler did a good job on that show. According to a report this morning from Deadline, Liza Chasen and Brad Mendelsohn will serve as producers. Okay. I really wish Shonda Rhimes was producing. Imagine if Shonda Rhimes was producing this. She produced shows like the last show she produced was with I call her Crazy Eyes, but I shouldn't because I can't pronounce her name. But the woman who played Crazy Eyes in Orange is the New Black, and it was The Resident, I think it was called. And it's basically like it feels like a love letter to Wes Anderson, but it's a murder of a individual in the White House, and it's a pretty good show. It's really cute. It's quirky. I like it. It's very whimsy too. But I feel like this would do really well with Shonda Rhimes. Shonda Rhimes would be able to give this justice if she was a producer. And then Brad Mendelsohn, one producer. Yeah, I don't know if this is gonna be my ex-friend's wedding. Yeah, I don't know if this book is gonna be good, or if this movie's gonna be good. Like, if the movie adaptation is gonna be good or not. I just finished watching Hunting Wives on Netflix, and that was awful. I just, like, the sex scenes were very nice, but like the show was awful. And I feel like the book was probably a lot better than the show. And this woman, she was also on a Shonda Rhimes show as well. She was in Scandal and in Inventing Anna, so it was fun to see her again. But like, this show was not that good, and that's a problem with a lot of Netflix shows. It really is like a hit or a miss. There is absolutely no in between. Just a hit or a miss, and most of the misses give like AI algorithmically friendly type of tease. Like, they don't give, like, you know, it could use a little bit of work, or, you know, some things were good here and there. It just feels like Netflix shows are very curated. You know what I mean? Very curated and very like a hop, skip, and a jump away from being a Lifetime movie, if that makes any sense. Some of them, not all of them, you know? So there's hit or misses on Netflix. The original series on HBO are sometimes good. Like, Sharp Objects was an adaptation of the book Sharp Objects, and that was amazing. But they also had Amy Adams on that show, and she's a great, like, everybody was like a great actress. Like, they basically had like Oscar award-winning actors on that show, and it was really, really good. I have to read the book. And then Game of Thrones, even before streaming, HBO had really good shows. Game of Thrones before season 7, Euphoria before season 2. What's another good show on HBO? Don't really know off the top of my head. Prime has some really good shows too. Like The Boys was pretty good, and I watched the reboot of Cruel Intentions, and it was okay. So there is opportunity for I feel like if this was fished around on other streaming platforms, it might have been better. But I don't know. I'm just worried that this will not be a good movie. And honestly, I don't think it needs to be a movie. I think it needs to be a show. Yeah. But anyway, moving on from Evelyn Hugo, now I'm going to finally talk about Love Island. Okay, Love Island. Huda. Ooh. Okay, so here's some things that I've known about Love Island. All right, things that I've observed, things that I understand. Okay, so I haven't watched all of Love Island. All right, I haven't watched Love Island at all. But what I do know from like the TikTok commentators on the show and like I guess the trolls online and even what BuzzFeed has said about the cast on Love Island is that things are not going the way they should, or that there's a lot of bullying going on Love Island, or this last season, right? And there is like a lot of like social experiment commentary on the girls from Love Island. You know what I mean? And I just kind of want to talk about it. I really want to talk about it. I want to have a conversation, and I think this is going to be my final rant about Love Island because I think there is something to learn about this series. I do think that there is something to learn about this show. I do think that this show is high key a social experiment on relationships, but I also think it is, and I've said this before, a lesson in a teaching moment and a lesson for Black girls who are just trying to figure it out and try to understand like what their standing is and how people perceive them and how they should more or less stand up for themselves in certain situations. You know what I mean? So after this, I think I'm going to be officially done with Love Island discourse because I don't have it in me to keep ranting and rambling about Love Island, because here's one thing I do know about reality TV shows. With reality TV shows, they are highly focused on getting a narrative by any means possible and a storyline by any means possible with whomever is available, whoever is on the show to begin with. So with that in mind, I would be very apprehensive and very critical of the way people are being portrayed on these shows, because there are times where reality networks or these directors will cut certain lines or phrases to make people look like they didn't say what they said. There are times when they will change the narrative, or they will pit people in the house, in the villa, in the scene or the setting against each other in order to create a spicier show. They will pull people aside and say, hey, so-and-so did blah, 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 blah. What do you think about that? And then go and take that information and give that information to the other person that they're talking shit about in order to create more discourse. So already I'm a little bit apprehensive about how people view a lot of these folks on Love Island and a lot of these individuals on the series. But honestly, at the beginning, I did like Huda. I thought Huda was cool. I thought Huda was cute. Everyone's like, like when she did her little dance in front of Megan. People were like, "That's not civilian moves. She's probably a midnight ballerina," and she was trending on TikTok on how to do like midnight ballerina moves. You know what I mean? And I thought everything was good. Everything was Gucci. Everything was fine. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, over the next couple of weeks of exploring Love Island discourse on TikTok, there's talks of like Huda crashing out, Shelly and Olandria sticking up for themselves, Huda not liking that and crying and saying that they're bullying her, and then Huda's fans coming to Huda's defense and bullying Shelly and Olandria because Huda believes that she's being bullied. And after all of that happened, I was like, I don't know. I don't really know about Huda anymore. I don't know if I like that. And granted, you know, viewers can't really control, or like contestants on the show can't really control how they are being viewed after the show has aired. I don't know if it's in their contract to be like, hey, please don't bully XYZ ABC. Like, please don't bully them. Please don't bully Shelly and Olandria. Please don't bully Taylor. Please don't bully these people, okay? I don't know if they're able to do that or not. I just don't, okay? However, Huda has been silent as Olandria and Shelly have been dragged by the internet. She has been a little silent. And if that isn't in her contract to tell her fans like, hey, don't bully anybody on the show, I wouldn't like that. You know, it would have been nice for her to like stick up for her friends and be a quote unquote, as we call it nowadays, girl's girl, and tell her fans not to come for these two ladies, right? However, to play devil's advocate, and this is just like a genuine like, this is the most devil's advocate I'm gonna get because like I don't even agree with this sentiment, but it could also be that like maybe they were bullying her and we just can't see it because again with reality TV, they clip out certain moments on television to make it seem as if the narrative is completely different than what it is. You know, do I believe that with my whole chest? No. Am I just putting that opportunity in there or that use case in there just to have a conversation of what could have actually went down? Yes. But do I believe it? No. I also heard that later on, because maybe fortunately, I don't know, but Huda doesn't get picked at the end. Not that should be the main intention of the show, right? Like that shouldn't be the main goal. Like if you're going on these reality TV shows really trying to find love, like I'm not even gonna hold your hand when I say this. I'm gonna just tell you like what are you doing? Like just be honest. You're there for exposure. You're there to become an influencer. You're there to gain followings and then go back to your regular life and like I don't know, start a candle business. Like just be honest with yourself, okay? So Huda later on has trouble finding love with Taylor, I guess, and is being completely like I don't want to say aggressive, but like a little forward with Taylor in ways, or what's the guy's name? Who was Huda paired with? I'm gonna see who was Huda paired with. Jeremiah. She was paired with Jeremiah. Apparently she was being very aggressive with Jeremiah and was just like, you know, I wanna sleep with you. I wanna sleep with you now. And okay, all these ads. Hello. Enough with the ads. Stop. I wanna sleep with you now. Oh God, girl. Oh my God. Let's just do this one. Okay, I guess this was good. Okay. She was like, I want to sleep with you now. We need to sleep together now. And it's like, I guess late at night or early in the morning, whatever. And Jeremiah's like, no, I don't want to sleep with you. And Huda's like, yes, you got to sleep with me. I'm going to do a countdown. And if you don't sleep with me, there's going to be an ultimatum. There's going to be hell to pay in the morning, right? And people are saying, okay, girl. If a a guy did that. That would be weirdo, creepy behavior. Like, you're being weird. Like, if this guy don't want to fuck you, he don't want to fuck you. Just move on with your day, okay? But I guess she still had fans because of that. And then later on, the crash outs got more intense. And I guess the consensus on the internet is that what it looked like is Huda crashing out because she wasn't picked by any of the dudes. Jeremiah's left. Jeremiah don't want anything to do with her. I don't blame you, because if you're putting out ultimatums about what he can and can't do with his body, you know, I wouldn't want to be with you either, right? And so, like, Huda's crashing out because she isn't getting picked. The other girls are getting picked, I guess. Like, Olandria and Shelly are able to get, like, their own, like, Nick Olandria was a thing, where Nick was really into Olandria after there was, like, a ton of haterade towards these beautiful girls, right? And I guess towards the end, and this is where things get a little musty, all right? Fix my mic. Okay, this is where things get a little musty for me, but I guess towards the end, Shelly and Huda do find love in some way. I think Shelly leaves, and Shelly and Olandria find love in some way. I think Shelly ends up leaving, but Olandria is able to find love with Nick Olandria, you know? And then there was, like, a lot of discourse and talking points about that. And I think the main conversation that people are having about Huda versus the girls that she said were bullying her, which were Olandria and Shelly, is that, and you know, I'm not gonna say trigger warning. I'm just gonna shoot it straight. Like, this is real talk. Like, black girl to black girl. Like, I'm just gonna be honest with you. It makes sense to me that people, especially black folks, have came to the conclusion that someone like a Huda, even though she is a woman of color, she does have proximity to whiteness for being a woman of color, for having more Eurocentric features, right? I think women like Huda end up crashing out because they're always perceived as being the preference by men like Jeremiah, you know? And when they are not picked and they are in competition with someone like a Huda or a Shelly, they end up crashing out because they feel like they are entitled to the attention. They feel like they're entitled to the gaze of these men, you know, because their proximity to whiteness, you know, like their proximity to more Eurocentric features and Eurocentric standards. They feel entitled that way. Now, I don't know if that is what Huda was actually thinking about in her mind, but I'm just going to say, like, as a girl, there have been times where I have crashed out. Like, I'm just gonna be honest, not all the time, and I definitely don't do it anymore, but when I was younger, there have been times when I crashed out because guys I was interested in were not interested in me and preferred other girls. That has happened. Okay, but then I grew out of it, like, as I got older and I matured and I became, you know, more confident in myself, and I stopped looking and pandering to the gaze of men, you know, like I got out of it. So I get that aspect of feeling sad because people don't give you attention, or because people, or you're not being picked by guys. Like, I'm human. All right, I've grown out of it, okay? But when I was in the thick of it, and before we were having conversations of how we need to decenter men from our lives and find hobbies and stuff, it was kind of a big deal for me. Like, it was a really big concern that I wasn't getting attention, you know? And when I say big, I mean, like, maybe like a couple times when I was in my early 20s. Towards my mid to later 20s, I stopped caring. And now I just do not care. Like, half the shit I do isn't even for you, it's for the plot. And the gays. But, like, and the black girlies, okay? Like, but, you know, Huda does kind of fall in line with some of the girls I have interacted with, I have seen, and I've just kind of observed. I went to a white elementary school, a predominantly white elementary school, middle school, and high school. And high school especially, it's a little different because people have hormones going in their system and all that, and they're trying to figure themselves out. So it was pretty common to see a lot of the black dudes that were there kind of pander or kind of creep towards the white girls. Like, they were not interested in the black girls. Like me, they were not, even though there was like all three of us, and I'm pretty sure one was probably gay in our graduation class, or like maybe 4 or 5 of us, right? 2 were probably gay, two were probably gay, and then the other 3 were probably like, I don't know, but they were not checking for me, love. Okay, that's a TLDR. They were not checking me. There was one dude, shout out to you, who was checking for me, but for the most part, the cool black guys were not checking for me. All right, so you know, it goes both ways. You know how black guys say none of the black girls were checking for me because I liked anime and Dragon Ball Z and stuff. Bitch, it goes both ways. Okay, and I will confidently say there was one black dude that was checking for me. And, you know, I regret not taking him seriously back then because I was on some shit, you know what I mean? But yeah, so I did experience like not being picked at a young age, not being the preference, and seeing all these black guys kind of fiend and fester after, and fight over a lot of white girls, you know, and it sucked because it feels like you're not that interesting. You're not preferred, you're not desirable. If it wasn't white girls, it was also Latinas too. They love them some Latinas, and that's okay. You can have a preference, you know. But with Huda, I noticed that she was kind of able to get away with her aggressive nature towards, like, I guess she thought that she could get away with her aggressive nature towards someone like a Jeremiah, because, like, let's be real here, and again, this is like table talk. Like, I'm not gonna bring table talk here, but like, I guess she thought that in experiencing men like Jeremiah before, that she could get away with being as toxic as she was because she's dealt with other men like that look like Jeremiah, who haven't really been able to put her in check and be like, listen, you can't do that creepy shit around me. You can't do ultimatums about you wanting to sleep with me. Like, we're not gonna do that here, right? You know what I mean? And so that, I'm gonna just say it that way so I don't sound problematic, because I'm not really trying to make this like a men versus women type of, I'm not trying to do that. But I do notice that men who are attracted to a Huda that look like me, if they're not careful, will end up being ragged out by a girl that looks like Huda without putting up boundaries. And I do believe that girls like Huda understand this. Maybe they don't consciously understand this, but subconsciously they understand this, because I believe Huda is Muslim, and she can't get away with acting the way she does around, you know, Muslims. She can't get away with acting the way she does around black guys in the same way that she would with Muslim guys or guys of her culture. Like, she just can't. She can't. You know? But men like Jeremiah, usually, and I've seen this plenty of times before, all right, they will eat up the, oh, she's so aggressive, and she's, what do they call Latinas? So passionate and fiery. Meanwhile, she's like burning down your car, like. And I'm not trying to like generalize all Latinas, but like, I'm just putting things into context. And then it's like me over here saying, hey, can you not call me a bitch? Like, can you not be rude? Like, can you not speak to me like I'm chopped liver? Like, can we have a conversation? And immediately I'm called ghetto, ratchet, hood. This is why I don't date black girls. You know what I mean? Like, you know what it is, right? But I do understand that subconsciously, I think Huda thought that she could get away with speaking and doing the things that she did with Jeremiah. You know what I mean? And like, maybe being blindsided when Jeremiah was like, you know what? Actually, girl, no, I don't want to do this. Like, I want to do this with you, right? And I also do believe that someone like a Huda would crash out, being the preference and all, right? Two girls, very attractive girls like Shelly and Olandria. Because in their mind, maybe consciously or subconsciously, and maybe you might not really like catch yourself doing this, right? And when I say preferences, it's not even like a colorism thing. It's not a race thing. It's not a colorism thing. It can definitely be a weight thing, right? Like if you're a skinny girl and you crash out because you see like the bigger girl getting attention, like let's talk about it. It can be maybe an aesthetic thing. Maybe you have an aesthetic that you think that guys would gravitate more towards, maybe like an IG baddie aesthetic, and like the dudes are feeding over the goth girl. Let's talk about it. Or, you know, maybe you have I don't know, maybe your friend is just like plain Jane, you know? Nothing wrong with the plain Jane. Shout out to my plain Janes, you know? She's just typical. Like, she's just like normal, you know? Like, she looks like me, like musty wig and all. And because she just has like a really good personality, like, you know, maybe guys and people just gravitate towards her, and you end up crashing out because of that, because like you have yourself together and you look good and all of that, right? Preference doesn't exclusively have to be closed off from colorism or like race. It can mean so many other different things, right? But I do notice that people who feel like they are entitled in certain spaces, not getting the attention that they want, do freak out a little bit, do get a little insecure, do get angry, and then inevitably, maybe if they don't know how to regulate their emotions, start crashing out and crying in the way that Huda did. And something I will say about someone like a Huda, who is Muslim, she is a woman of color. Like, I think people are forgetting that she is a woman of color in this conversation. She's definitely a brown girl, but she does have leverage over, like, socially, she has leverage over Olandria and Shelly because she aligns more so with Eurocentric standards. I think people forget that girls like Huda are not just harmful towards men like Jeremiah, but also a low-key harmful, high-key, this is the highest of keys actually, harmful towards women like Olandria and Shelly. And this is something I can definitely speak on. I might have to do a whole story time on like this happening in real time and me not knowing how to like speak on it in the way that I can now. But I have seen and I have experienced instances of someone like a Huda crashing out on everyone and being able to get away with it because they think they're the quote-unquote preference. And then as soon as they get checked, respectfully, the tears, the waterworks, there is stuff there like, why are you doing that? Why are you bullying me? And it's like, girl, Olandria and Shelly probably were not bullying you. They were probably just letting you know, like, hey, girl, this isn't what it is. This isn't what it is. This isn't what we're doing. Okay, like they were not bullying you, lovely. They were not bullying you, and you know they were not bullying you, right? You were crashing out because one of two reasons. You realized that these girly pops were maybe getting a little bit more attention and more liked around the villa, and when you thought that you had it together, or maybe you're not being able to cope with the fact that like the guys in the villa are preferring them more than they prefer you, you know what I mean? Or maybe the girls, the Shelly and Olandria are just more liked, right? But the reason why that's harmful, the reason why it's harmful for someone like a Huda to weaponize their tears against someone like a Shelly and Olandria, and then kind of go on this hobo tour where they're talking about being bullied on the show, even though the footage doesn't really show her being bullied in the way that I guess she thinks she is. Which again, devil's advocate, maybe she was actually bullied. Maybe it wasn't even by Olandria and Shelly. Maybe it was the producers. Okay, so maybe she was being bullied, but maybe the bullying that was happening was with the producers, you know, or with other people, maybe the other men. You know what I mean? Because reality TV does like to clip and snip and strip things out from certain footage to make it look a certain way, to push a certain narrative, right? And I also do think that the Love Island team has a lot in the social media campaigns that are going on for Love Island, a lot in of hands in like these think pieces and these conversations, very clever on their end to like open up this conversation of how like black girls like Olandria and Shelly are perceived in these shows. Very, very clever, because I'm glad that we're on this time. Hello, hi. Nice to see you. Iron Man ROX 314. Okay, cool. But I do believe someone like a Huda isn't used to being the girl who isn't picked. You know what I mean? And maybe before like the surgeries and before the bang and bod, maybe she was used to that. But now like being in this setting with having all these eyes on her, not only on the villa but also like at home, maybe she's not used to being picked, and maybe she might be crashing out because, you know, it's a lot of pressure on her. But like the optics make it look like she's crashing out on these girls here, and crying and weaponizing her tears because they put up boundaries, because they are more mature with her, because, you know, and maybe they're not the most perfect girls, you know, but I feel like something in my heart tells me they probably are. I'm just gonna take their side, girl. I'm just gonna do that. I'm just gonna take their side, because we pro black girls over here, right? But like, Huda is the type that will get very aggressive, very bold, very loud, rah, rah, rah in your face. I've seen experienced brown skin girls, Latinas, white girls who've done this before. And then as soon as they square up to somebody where they've quote unquote met their match, then it's tears. Then it's back down. Then it's, why are you being so aggressive? Then I don't know. And then they make the girls that they've been antagonizing this whole time look a lot worse than how they've been acting, just by using their tears. Very scary, very toxic. I think this is one of the biggest reasons why I don't have a lot of, like, I have friends of color, but I don't have a lot of white girlfriends. I've never watched reality TV much myself, but my sister watches it, and I've seen clients watch it, and when I'm doing a service call. Okay, Iron Man 13. So, Iron Man rocks 13? Okay, cool. So, Love Island in particular. Alright, so what are they saying about Shelly and Olandria? Like, your sister, you mentioned that your sister is watching the show. So what is she saying about Shelly and Olandria versus the whole Huda discourse? Does she have like a favorite character that she was following, or a favorite contestant in the villa? Like, what are they saying? Because right now the narrative is that Huda feels like Shelly and Olandria bullied her, and Huda has been crashing out because Jeremiah didn't pick her at the end, and has been doing this hobo tour of how she felt like she was bullied on the show. But also in the same breath came out about like some tragic incidences that have happened in her life. Like, apparently her dad had assaulted her and none of her sisters believe her. That's sad. And like, you know, checking Huda aside, right? Like, that, she doesn't deserve that, you know? Like, no woman deserves that. But doing a hobo tour and trying to like pin and villainize these women is not okay. And girls like Huda who do villainize women like Shelly and Olandria, or do buck up to women like Shelly and Olandria and then freak out or crash out when the water is too hot, they end up being incredibly scary. And like on a you know, lighthearted level, it could be watching your favorite reality TV show and just seeing Huda like do what she do towards these two lovely ladies, and you picking up on it and being like, okay, this is weird. Like, why is she acting this way? You know, because honestly, I feel like Huda probably would have ended up with someone in the villa if she just changed who she was as a person. You know what I mean? And maybe there's some pent-up trauma from the assault of her father. I don't know. But if she really just changed who she was as an individual, and didn't crash out so much and knew how to regulate her emotions, she would not be the villain. You know what I mean? Like if there was a scene or where like she did not buck up to Alandria or Shelley or try to call them out for whatever they did, and they get into a tiff or whatever, and maybe they just work it out in the end, I guess maybe she would have been seen differently. But I think a lot of the issues that are going on are with her internally. I haven't asked. She has her boyfriend now to pull into watching. That seems to be a common trend these days. Yeah, okay, cool. But also like on a more serious scale of like how dangerous someone like a Huda can be, because there is dangers, right? Is when you're just minding your business and existing as a black person, as a person of color, right? And maybe a Karen type of person or a person of color calls the cops on you because they're scared or they're nervous or they're uncomfortable. Like it can really get that bad. But lighthearted, we can see this as a social experiment. But more serious, on the serious end, it could get pretty dangerous. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm very apprehensive towards girls like Huda. Another example, if you used to watch Real Housewives, Evelyn Lozada, which, girl, I can't stand Evelyn. Evelyn Lozada is a bit of a mess, in my humblest opinion. She's a bit of a mess. But when she was on the Real Housewives or the Basketball Wives back in the early 2000s, and she would buck up towards every woman that wouldn't like bow down and obey her every wish and every need, right? And then what was her name? It wasn't Ocho Cinco, but it was another girl who was unambiguously black. And I forgot her name. OG. Her name was OG. Okay, so let's go back to OG. So OG, right, who was on the show, who can really give Evelyn the run for her money, and she has several times before, right? Like every time Evelyn would try to check, like, and mind you, Evelyn Lozada on Basketball Wives, like she was on tables, she was pushing tables, she was crashing out, and like sure, it was good TV, I guess. Like yeah, this is really good TV, but also, girl, like you need to chill. Like you're crashing out way too much. Like you're fighting these girls. You're in their faces. I think the last time I watched Basketball Wives, she was like patting her crotch, and she was like, "No one's gonna mother f with me." Yeah, and it's just like, girl, like you don't have to crash out this way. And she gets away with it because she probably is the fan favorite or the preference, right? But then as soon as OG checks her on the show, now she's backing down. Now she's scared. Now she's nervous. Now she's like, oh, OG's being too aggressive. And then I think she even put like a little monkey emoji when she was talking about OG on Instagram. But it's like, it's so funny you say that because you like consume and are a part of these black spaces. You 49 and you still pose it on IG like Brittany Renner and the rest of them. Let me stop, because I'm pretty sure if I'm 49, I'm probably gonna be doing the same damn thing too, girl. Like, don't like I'm not even gonna hold y'all, but like still, like you're trying to get into these spaces, these urban adjacent spaces, with like whatever racial ambiguous, whatever percentage of blackness that you have, girl. I don't know. And then you buck up to these women. You buck up to Royce Reed. I remember that happened. Or you not being a fan of Royce Reed, I guess because she didn't kiss your cunt. I don't know. And then as soon as someone gives you a run for your money, as soon as OG's like, okay, girl, you want that smoke? You want that smoke? See, like, look at this comment. Toxic. Anyway, OG's like, okay, you want it? You want the smoke? Let's go. Let's go. Buck up. Let's go. Let's do it, right? And then Evelyn over here is just like, oh, girl, I don't want you to, why are you being so aggressive? I don't want any of this. And it's like, girl, you've been aggressive with these women for years. You have been bucking up to these women, and Shawnee just lets you sit there and do whatever because she thinks you're good TV. And then as soon as OG says, no, bitch, you're not going to do that with me, now it's, oh, gorilla emoji. Which, can we stop doing this in 2025? It's not cute. You would not do this in person. Why are you doing this online? If they made fun of you so bad in the beginning, you should have looked, oh, wait, you wanted to be on the show. Sit down. No, that's not okay. That's not okay. The fuck? Like, you sit down, bitch. Like, it's just not cool to do. Anyway, so yeah, I've seen this happen before. I've seen it happen in real time to myself personally. I have my own story time. I'm not going to go into details now. I've seen this happen on reality TV with girls who feel like they're the preference, getting away with doing and acting however. And then as soon as someone is like, you're not going to do that to me, you're not going to act that way to me, they weaponize tears, they fall back. They're like, I'm just a girl. And I feel like with women like that, we can't get along. Like we can't be friends. Like, you're going to be a danger to me in one way or another. Maybe you might be emotionally harmful. Or maybe it might be a little crash out when we hang out and have a girls' night. All right. But like, eventually we're going to have problems. Okay. We're going to have problems. All right. So I can't fuck with you. I can't fuck with you. Okay. And I especially, like, no tea, no shade, I can't really rock with a person who doesn't know how to regulate their emotions, man or woman. But especially a woman. No, I'm kidding. Man or woman. I can't really deal with people who don't know how to regulate their emotions at my big age. Like, if you don't understand, like, the basic skills of, I'm angry, I'm sad, but I'm sad because of this and not that. So I am going to make that clear to everyone around me so it doesn't seem like I'm villainizing anybody. Like, if you can't understand that concept at like 25 plus, then we can't roll, because I really don't have time. But yeah, just to double down. Emotionally unstable people cannot deal with if you are man or woman. I just cannot deal with it. Okay, girl. Like, but anyway, Iron Man Rocks 13 says, I am only 25, so I'm unfamiliar with a lot of this. Yeah, so I'm unfamiliar with a lot of this too. I just watch the TikTok videos and listen to the commentaries, and like, I'm pretty sure it's not like, there isn't anything monumental that's happening on the show, but I'm not about to pay Peacock so I can see Love Island. I think I have a Peacock account. I don't know. But even if I didn't, I'm not about to give them my money so I can watch Love Island. Like, I'm good. It's not that serious. But I feel like their marketing team for Love Island is good. Oh, 314. I'm sorry. Yeah. But a lot of people are watching them. I saw a TikTok of somebody watching Love Island while eating Chili's, and that sounds awesome. Like, bringing your MacBook to watch shows while eating Chili's with some margaritas is, dang, I'm gonna do that. That's a true enrichment activity. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like someone like a Huda can be dangerous, and like I said, it could be lighthearted. Like, it could be like a little hee hee ha ha, you're getting all the attention tonight, oh, you know, but like, even then, you should be careful. I've had friends that said that to me before, but they mean it in like the most genuine way. Like, they're not trying to be like awful about it. But I've also had friends who, that are no longer friends anymore, that like are really trying to humble me and are really just like, why are you doing so much? You can't, like, why are you acting that way? And, you know, I can't deal with people like that. I can't deal with girls who try to, you know, embarrass their friends in front of guys or be weird around their girlfriends around guys. Like, I don't have time. Personally, I feel like this will all be a subject type of show I learn more about once I start dating someone. Oh, okay. That's interesting, Iron Man. Okay. So, how's the dating market going? I'm not on the market, so I don't know what it's like, but I feel like even if I was single, I would not want to date anybody for a very, very long time. Like, I'd have to work out a lot of things in my life. But honestly, I don't think, to be honest, Iron Man, I don't think that Love Island is the best example of how love and relationships work. Because first things first is that this is a show first with producers that have a narrative that they are trying to push. And so that's why I'm like, we really don't know what happened between Olandria, Shelley, and Huda. We just don't know, right? But based off of the footage, we can make some conclusions. And honestly, I kind of do believe that Huda is a little bit of a crash out, and that Shelley and Olandria just stood up for themselves. You know what I mean? And I also feel like people who like a lot of the hate towards Shelley and Olandria is very racially motivated. Like, I do. I don't use apps, so I'm doing what I can to just build my small social group into something a little larger, plus to help find someone the old-fashioned way. Good Iron Man Good Iron Man rocks 314. I'm just gonna call you Iron Man for the time being. I think it is a really good idea for you to not use social media apps. While we're on the conversation, if I can talk about dating real quick, objectively, not like a man versus woman thing, but just objectively, dating apps have ruined dating. I really don't think it's, these guys don't have their shit. Well, it could be. If you don't have your shit together, you shouldn't be dating. All right, listen, Iron Man, that's some advice. Okay, if you don't have your shit together, don't date. And when I mean shit, like if you can't support yourself, you probably should not be in a relationship. Okay, man or woman. But like, a lot of people blame the state of dating on women, and they'll say, "Oh, well, you guys just don't know how to keep your legs closed. You just give it up to anybody. You make it easy for these men to want to fuck you." And that's like not true, because like the sex revolution existed back in the 60s. and folks were sucking and fucking and doing whatever the hell they wanted back then too. Like, come on. And wasn't teen pregnancy a lot higher back then than it is now? So like, let's not tell that lie. I have my own thoughts on love. I'm not going to take advice from a reality TV show. I heard you mention the deception editing, which I hate, and it feels artificial. I wouldn't say I'm perfect, but at the end of the day, I make sure my responsibilities are done and bills are paid. Okay, if your responsibilities are done and bills are paid, then maybe you can start dating. Maybe. But like, if you don't have your shit together, like if you can barely pay bills, then you probably, or like you don't, like even if you like don't really have a job like that. Like, I don't mean to sound shitty, okay? But like, here's my thought process, okay? The job market sucks, all right? It sucks. It's awful. It's really hard for people to find jobs. If you don't have like a career that you're actively going for, or like a vision or a plan that you're working at, and you're struggling with paying bills, then you probably should not be dating. Your priorities need to change. You need to figure out a way how to support yourself financially, pay all your bills, maybe have a career, all right? And then you can maybe start dating. If you're like dating and you can barely make rent on time every month, you really should not. Like, that's just like a a disaster. And the reason why I say a disaster is because we're grown, right? We're adults. So what happens if you are in a situation where you're dating someone casually? It's not even serious. Y'all aren't even in a relationship. And someone falls pregnant. An oopsie happens. The condom slips. Someone falls pregnant. Now, you have one or two options here. And this is for men and women, right? Like we're equal opportunity, okay? We're not doing the man v woman type shit. Like, don't do that here. All right. Now, what are your next steps? If you wanted to have the child and do a co-parenting type of situation, do you have the tools set in place for and the resources set in place to raise the kid? Do you even have enough money for an abortion? For girly pops, for the girls, really, you should not be dating in today's day and age, especially, unless you have a birth control. Some sort of birth control. Really. The condoms aren't enough. You need a birth control. You need a birth control. You need a birth control. And then you need, if you're dating someone casually, you really need to have them wear condoms and birth control. Guys, you either have one of two options. Wear condoms or get snipped. No one can trick you into being pregnant. No one can trick you into falling pregnant. A woman can't trap you. That doesn't happen. That doesn't exist. Okay, so like either you get snipped or wear condoms and take it out when you're ready to, okay? I was raised to take care of my kid if I fathered one. Okay, that's nice. My job is recession proof and it's a trade job, so I'm good. See, be like Iron Man rocks 314. You need to be like, see, he has his shit together. So yes, Iron Man, you can go date. He has a recession proof job. And it's a trade job. So yeah, trade jobs are great. So he's good. So you can date. You can date. You got all your bills paid. You're probably saving money. You can support your partner if something happens where there's an emergency, whether someone falls pregnant or maybe like less serious, I don't know, car breaks down, like you're able to help them. I personally wouldn't opt for an abortion, but I'd rather go into the rabbit hole. I'd rather go into that rabbit hole at this particular moment. You can just call me Iron. Okay, I mean, that's your opinion. Sure, that's fair. I was raised to take care of my kid if I fathered one. Okay, that's cool. But I don't know. I think for women, because they're the ones who ultimately have the choice as to whether or not they can have the kid or not, I think it's like their choice primarily. You know what I mean? But like, you know, that's your opinion. I'm tired. Okay, that's fair. Cool. But I think that for women especially and for guys especially, like, if there's any advice I can give you, you probably should not be dating unless you have your shit together financially in some way, shape, or form. If you're struggling to pay bills every month, then you need to, that should be your highest priority over trying to find loving relationships. Okay? Thus my point proven. So, Iron, are you saying that you're not a fan of abortions, but I'd rather go into the rabbit hole? I wouldn't rather go into the rabbit hole this moment. Or are you saying you are a fan of abortions? Because really, at the end of the day, for me personally, it's like it's your choice. I'm pro-abortion. I'm sorry. Like I'm pro-abortion. You know what I mean? Because I don't think society currently does a good job in what's the best way to put it? In educating the masses on how difficult it is to not just raise a kid, but physically have a kid, how your body can change, all the physical changes that your bodies go through. There hasn't been extensive studies on like women's health and hormones until like the 1980s. And even then, like there's still shit that they just don't know. And then on top of that, raising the kid is incredibly difficult, and there is a social expectation that the woman will be spending more time with the child than the guy. Anyway, Iron Man, that's your opinion. That's okay. You can have your opinion. I'm glad that you believe that you should take care of your child. I hope that you would. So, because not a lot of dads do. Not a lot of dads do. Not a lot of people do, but not a lot of dads. But anyway, I'm not a fan of abortion, but I'm on the phone texting this in a YouTube stream chat. I would love to discuss this at further length in detail and civil discourse, but this isn't the optimal on my Honestly, Iron Man, I really wouldn't want to discuss this in civil discourse. I really wouldn't. The only reason why is because I want to keep my streams lighthearted, and I don't really want to get into the gender war BS nonsense. Because that's what it boils down to. My opinion is that we live in a society where people are just incredibly unaware of how difficult it is to put a burden on women to raise kids. that's my opinion. And like, you're entitled to your opinion. I've spoken with people who are not pro-abortion, who are very much so like, women should have children and women should stay in the home and cook and clean and all of that. Ooh. My vinyl fell. And at the end of the day, that's like their opinion. That's their opinion, and that's fine. You know, I don't have to believe their opinion. I don't have to like abide by their opinion. You know, but it's just there's things that people are not talking about, and to be like very gender neutral about this, to be like just like on the man's side and on the woman's side, like, it's just expensive in 2025 to raise kids. That's what I boil it down to. Things are not easy nowadays to raise children. You have a lot of uphill battles. You're dealing with inflation. You're dealing with school systems sucking. You're dealing with social media being a third space now instead of actual communication with other individuals. Like, there's going to be a whole era of children, if we can really talk about it, there's going to be a whole era of children that are going to grow up with mental health issues based around social media, and not even social media, but like technology, and like being in front of an iPhone at like 3 years old, watching CoComelon all day. Like, there will probably be like studies on kids who were raised around less technology and encouraged to interact and speak with people, versus children who are being raised around technology and being thrown an iPhone and an iPad every 5 minutes so that they can, you know, get out of the hair of their parents. You know, it's just it's not easy to have kids in 2025, which is why I wish people would be so for real about how difficult it is. I'm also tired of men and women being pitted at each other. I think we need to start remembering the differences that strengthen and complement the other. I think both sides have some validity in their problems, but I think we need to start bringing unity back. You know what? I agree, but I have like a very like liberal take on that. Like a super, super liberal take that I've talked about plenty of times on here. I think that we are in a very hetero-pessimistic era right now. We are incredibly hetero, like, we hate the opposite sex. And I think it's harmful. A part of me thinks it's a psyop. Like, my Facebook auntie energy is like, is this a psyop? Like, is Russia trying to feed propaganda to keep Americans from not populating the country? But like, a part of me is just like, no, this is inevitable. Like, this is gonna happen. I think the reason why we're being pitted against each other now is a couple of things. In the past 5 years, there has been a very aggressive conservative push, but not in like the most ethical of ways. We have seen a lot of sexism and misogyny run rampant on social media. We've just seen it, and it's been very, let me go back to the smiley. All right. It's just been very toxic, you know what I mean? It's been very bad. What's ironic is there were already people I knew who I no longer hang out with that were regurgitating the same incel sexist type of talking points before I even knew what it was or even knew how to stand up for myself. Especially before, you know, the 2020s came in, before, you know, the Andrew Tate of it all, and the Fresh and Fit of it all, and the MGAO and Manosphere type of content, you know what I mean? But I think the reason why a lot of the opposite sex hates each other a lot is because of the push in media today. I think what happened, Iron Man, and I'm speaking to you because you're the only one in here, and I feel like you're a temper-headed young lad, so we can have this conversation and you not crash out, hopefully. But I feel like I feel like when feminism ended, first of all, let's start with feminism real quickly. The feminism that was being sold to Americans and that was being peppered in social media back when things were a lot more liberal and progressive in the 2010s was a capitalistic version of feminism, is what I like to call it. Third wave, if you will, where we are telling women that they have to endure the same type, more or less, they have to endure the same type of toxic behaviors that men do in the workplace. That they can do the same things that the men can do, but better because they're women. That, like, you just gotta be as much of an asshole, as much of a hard worker, as much of a hustler as a man does, and you will get rewarded in the same way. The problem is that what we found out was that, at least with third wave feminism, girl boss feminism, capitalistic feminism is what I like to call it, is that when a lot of these women were like working really, really hard, you know, girl bossing their way to the top, if they will, which I will always advocate for. I think you definitely have to work hard. You have to work very, very hard as a woman to sustain yourself financially. It's not a matter of like pride and being a girl boss. And it has everything to do with making sure you have your own so that you don't get into any sort of an abusive situation, right? I think what happened is a lot of women, or I guess they want to sell this idea now that a lot of women got into these spaces and they realized that, holy shit, this sucks. This sucks. I'm working hard. I'm overworking myself. I'm tired and I'm exhausted. You tack on the social expectation that the woman is supposed to be at the house taking care of the kids, or at least being closest to the kids and raising the children. It was a burden for girls and women. It was burden, okay? And I think when feminism started having more of a conversation towards fourth wave, where we're not just and that's the big kicker, is that there's waves of feminism. It's just not like third wave, second wave feminism was a psyop, blah blah blah. Read it, the government has hands in feminism. I don't know, right? Whatever bullshit conservative is trying to feed whatever conspiracy theories to you, right? Fourth wave feminism, I believe, was genuinely trying to create equality amongst men and women and trying to dismantle the system of patriarchy. Patriarchy is way more different. Way different than men, okay? Actual men. Men suffer from patriarchy too. That's the hook, line, sinker. Men do suffer from patriarchy. You should not have to work as hard as you do as a man and not get enough money to support yourself or your children or your family or your wife, right? But also, you should not be having social expectations to I'm in Texas, so it's after midnight now, and I have to get up at about 6 a.m. Okay. Good night, Iron Man. I think that we failed, where we failed men and boys is that we told them that specifically because of their gender, they have to buck up, they have to be hard, they have to be masculine, they have to be alphas, they have to prove themselves and their masculinity, they have to be the strongest. If they're not the strongest, they have to be the smartest. If they're not the smartest, they have to be the wealthiest. They have to leverage some sort of power. And if they aren't able to leverage that power in any way, shape, or form, especially over the opposite sex, then they are not a valued man, you know? And that's not good. That's not good for young boys. And then on top of that, you're telling these young boys and you're telling fully grown men that they can't have emotions, that they can't vent, that they can't grieve. They can't, that's a woman thing. Bitches do that, you know, and that's not good either. And so then you get a bunch of guys crashing out, unaliving their families, unaliving people at schools, teenage boys unaliving people at schools, men harming other men, women, children. Let's talk about assault. I think Lil Bill on YouTube, he has a video about the assault of young black boys and the impact on them, and the assault on black men, and how basically at a young age they're groomed and conditioned to like be sexualized in a way where they have to toughen up. you know? And in the same way that black women are groomed to, you know, or are shamed for their sexuality, black men are like, you know, encouraged to embrace that like aggressive feral nature that is imposed on them by, you know, society. You know what I mean? The racial stereotype, I guess. And it's harmful. You know, I know a couple of black guys that I've spoken with who have talked about like series of abuse that have happened to them at a young age, and they don't see it as abuse. They see it as, oh, I was becoming a man. It's coming of age. Didn't Boozy like tell his son, like when he was 8 years old, like didn't he say that he was gonna buy his son like a swiper, a sex worker, so that he can learn how to be a man? Like nobody talks about that. You know what I mean? And the reason why they don't talk about that is because patriarchy, which is different from men. And so now, I think because what happened is when fourth wave entered, I think it probably did harm to. Hi, Heaven! I haven't seen you in forever. Heaven said, yikes! I subscribe so I can find you later. Let me know what you think about having this discussion. All right, thanks, Iron Man. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm probably not gonna have a discussion about this because, like, my opinions. I'm at this point in my life where it's like, if you have your opinions, that's fine. If I have my opinions, that's fine. There's no reason for me to get mad, like, or like passionate. You know, like this is where I get passionate on here. But like, you know, like if you have your takes, you do, and that's fine. And I do agree with you to some extent, where I do feel like some like women and men are pitted against each other, but I think they're pitted like, I think what's happening is that it's getting more and more divided and more heteropessimistic without actually unpacking the. It's very difficult to pin down your stream across the pond. It's okay, Evan. Without actually unpacking like what the actual issue is. I believe the actual issue is patriarchy, and I feel like patriarchy, while men do benefit from it, they also suffer from it too. And so what has happened with fourth wave feminism is that, from my understanding, there was an effort to dismantle the patriarchy. And I think that's when a lot of, like, you know, people in power and a lot of people who are like pro-capitalist got scared, because if you're telling the men, if you're like actively encouraging men to be like, hey, doesn't the system suck? Doesn't the system suck that's telling you you have to buck up, you have to not show any emotion, you have to be a masculine man, you have to do all of these things that quote unquote fit under the umbrella of masculinity. Are you happy? Are you okay with this? Then, you know, the menses might fight back and be like, no, I'm not happy. Why can't I like the color pink? Why can't I wear a dress if that's what you're into? Like, why can't I paint my nails? Why is it seen as, you know, feminine? Or why is me getting in touch with my feminine side seen as bad as me as a boy? Why can't I play with dolls? Like, I don't think they want that. And so, and I think another theory is, as soon as we started speaking about gender versus biology, like biologically male versus female versus gender, woman and man, and how gender just might be a construct that we have been groomed and conditioned into following a lot of our lives and is way, way different than our biology, I think a lot of people got scared too. I think, because I do think that if you can honor the rules of patriarchy, I do feel like you're able to create, you're able to feed into the class division and the divide in America. Because I believe, okay, so here we go, hopping all over the place. America has a class problem. Like that's the disease they have. It's a class problem, not primarily a race problem, not primarily a sexist problem, not primarily like a gender issue, a homophobia issue. I think the true problem with America is classism. But I think what happens is that the people who benefit from the classism influence things culturally so that we are focused on dividing amongst each other instead of fighting the main villain, which is the people who are hoarding all the wealth and controlling all the narratives and of like how this country is supposed to be ran, of how this world is supposed to be ran. And I think with patriarchy specifically and everything that comes from it, sexism, all of that, man's man, woman's woman, masculine man, demure mindful woman, like all of that is a tool to create discourse and to divide people from the fact that y'all are fighting amongst each other while these like wealthy people, like billionaires, are still getting money. Like you are literally on a TikTok app going back and forth on how all women suck, all men suck. Here's how you can spot a fuck boy. Here's how you can spot a fuck girl. Here are the 4 girls that you can't date. Here are the 4 girls that you should date. Here's the way to get a high value husband, and here's a way how to use your dark feminine to sprinkle like all that type of stuff. Is like a distraction to keep you on the algorithm, to keep feeding these super wealthy people who make billions and billions of dollars off of your discourse. And to also keep you distracted from the fact the real issue is it doesn't matter how much sprinkle you do, it doesn't matter how much MGAO content you follow or how much Manosphere, Fart and Funky, Andrew Tate, whatever that you follow. Like at the end of the day, you are still struggling as a human being, man or woman. We are all out here struggling. All of us, okay? And I think that is where I'm at with the gender war conversation and the gender war bullshit. And that's why I don't want to get into the nonsense, because a lot of these manosphere spaces that have came out and are blatantly sexist and blatantly toxic, the way y'all platformed a literal trafficker, who's been in jail for trafficking, who admitted that he was screwing around with minors because his message is good. Because he has a powerful message. Because he's taught me how to be a man. The way the same dude basically ran an MLM scheme on a lot of y'all MFers. I'm talking about Andrew Tate, by the way. He basically said, hey, pay $500 or $170 for this war room course and also spread awareness of my message towards other people for affiliate marketing commission. And that's how, like, in the early 2020s, we saw all of, like, this Andrew Tate nonsense come out of nowhere. Because people were spreading his message because they would get commission from it. And he's paying men big top dollars to learn how to be masculine men. And it's like, if you're spending anywhere between $70 to $300 on someone teaching you how to be a masculine man, don't you think you could use that to like regulate your emotions and go to therapy and unpack why patriarchy sucks? Like, what are you doing? And that's the problem, in my opinion. That is where my issues lie. Is that a lot, just like as Iron Man had said, a lot of the divide between men and women, a lot of it is, I feel like, carefully constructed and curated to keep us arguing and fighting on platforms that are making billions and billions of dollars, of keeping us on the internet, of keeping us in the algorithm, of keeping our emotions heightened and us being constantly outraged, while we do nothing productive with our lives. I do believe that. I feel like a lot of these companies know what they're doing. They do it on purpose because they know that we're going to be engaging with it, because everyone can relate to the emotion of love. Man, woman, everybody in between, everybody can relate to it. But when it all comes, when at the end of the day, especially now when you have manosphere, and even now when you have like the woman empowerment spaces, which I'll shout to the cows come home, is not feminism. Stop saying that. The woman, the sprinkle, the Princella, the Queen Maker, the unflawed villain, the what's her name? The girl that has too much Botox. I forgot her name, but she has brown hair. And then who's another white girl that tried to fall into the grift? the Wizard Liz too. Like all of these like self-help, woman empowerment, get your shit together, like don't take no shit from a man. You know, I'm gonna put you on game of how these men really think and man's true nature and blah 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 blah. It's not feminist. It's not. Those same content creators will leverage patriarchy to their benefit if it means that they can get more people watching their content, if it means that it can benefit them. Shira Seven's content, Sprinkle, like that is textbook leveraging patriarchy to get something out of it, to maintain resources. And I think it is the most harmful argument to clap back from that statement, to clap back from someone who's saying, yeah, Shira 7 is leveraging patriarchy and telling a bunch of girls and women to basically be a mild down version of a swiper. Like, I'm just being honest, as a former swiper myself, like that's what she's encouraging, okay? Or having swiper tendencies or escorting tendencies. I think the worst clapback is, well, we live in a society, so what should we do? What should we do? We should just live our lives the way we need to. You know, we need to survive. Life is hard as it is, so we're just, you know, living in the system and leveraging it in the best way we can. No, because at the end of the day, if you try to play the rules of patriarchy as a woman, you will be reminded that you are a woman in a patriarchal structure. You know what I mean? Like, you'll be reminded that time and time again. So Shira 7, mind you, I really enjoy her spiritual content a lot more than her relationship content. And I think, I don't know, if you're into that type of stuff, you could watch it. It's pretty interesting. You should watch that. But if Shira 7 is telling you how to gain financial advice, and the financial advice is find a provider man, but also have your own money, but then she's not unpacking and really talking about like the risks of financial abuse, the risks of what happens when you don't sign a prenup, or maybe you signed a prenup and like your wealthy husband, who probably knows more about money than you do, quite frankly, has a contract in a way where like you don't get anything from the marriage, right? Like, she's not educating you on that. So like, how can you call someone like that a financial coach? Maybe the sprinkle advice will teach you how to stand up for yourself and how to like have boundaries, but like encouraging women and young girls to marry rich without understanding that like not having your own, or even having your own, or dealing with wealthy people with an exorbitant amount of resources can be dangerous. Like, that's not good, and that's my problem. Princella the Queenmaker, like, I'm just gonna say it. That woman, she ate Candace Owens up in the Jubilee video. That was a great moment. That was great social media. But like, her ex basically came out and said that she was groomed by her, and now she's with a 24-year-old. And how old is Princella the Queen? I don't know, but like, there's something off about that woman. Beautiful lady, but there's something off about that woman, okay? Like, I'm just being real with you, okay? But like, a lot of these creators out here, a lot of these, you know, how to be masculine and how to be feminine and like all that bullshit is just toxic rage bait to keep you on the algorithm and to keep the wealthy wealthier and to keep you distracted from what's actually going on. Like in America, how they're building they're going to be building more detention centers or concentration camps for immigrants. You know what I mean? Iron Man says, I want to unite our working class to stop the bullshit going on and all the divisions that have been driven in with psyops. I agree. Like, and that's the problem. That's the problem. A lot of these conversations, a lot of these discourses that we're having, a lot of these racist issues we're having, the homophobia, the sexism. Notice how a certain side has like their whole campaign is a witch hunt over trans people. Mind you, what is the percentage of trans people in America? I don't trust AI overview, so I'm going to go to the Williams Institute. So this is like data, I guess. All right. Feel free to check me on my data. Conservatives have made making an active push to attack and harm trans people with harmful transphobic rhetoric. But like between the ages of 13 to 17, 1.4% of the US population has came out as trans. For US adults, 0.5% of the US population is coming out as trans and are openly transgendered. So that is a total of 1.9%, like under, not even 5% of people are out in this planet and out on this in this country as trans. Yet conservatives are pushing constantly this like anti-trans propaganda. What is a woman? Bring back masculinity. Bring back femininity. Don't you miss the olden days? Don't you miss the olden days? Don't you miss the 1950s with the nuclear household and all of that? Mind you, a lot of the 1950s adverts and television shows that they were watching, they were propaganda built up by advertisement companies to sell products to give you a vision of what you wanted the 1950s to look like or the 1960s to look like, but didn't honestly reflect real life. They weren't honest depictions of real life, just like any other decade does. Like some of the stuff we look at in the 1980s, that wasn't like really how the 1980s was, really. Same with the 90s, same with the 2000s. I remember because I lived in the 2000s. A lot of the way a lot of y'all are dressing on TikTok right now, like Y2K baddies, all of that, like that would like we were not dressing like that all the time. Like some of us were, but like a majority of us were Aeropostale, bitch. Like that's what we were doing. Like we were not out here with the McBling looking like Snooki from Jersey Shore. Like that wasn't a thing. I love it. I love that you're exploring that look, and I think that social media, the good side about social media is that it makes it more accessible, but that's not what real life was. Same with like the 1950s and the romanticization of the nuclear family household. That wasn't really what the 50s and 60s were. Those were propagandic depictions of what the 50s and 60s could be, but that wasn't just like real life. People were going through divorces. Well, not really. It was harder to go through a divorce, honestly. It was much harder back then to go through a divorce, for women at least. Women were getting beaten on by their husbands, and they couldn't report it to the police because it was legal up until the 90s, I think. Oh, my mom used to take care of 8 to 10 kids. Yeah, probably because the doctor didn't want to give her birth control. And probably because she was convinced that that's what her livelihood was, to have 8 to 10 kids. Like, and a lot of this is to create more workers, to keep people working, to keep the economy running. You need more workers. That's why super wealthy people, Elon Musk's mom, got up on the Today Show and said, you should be fruitful and multiply and make kids. That's why she said that, because she is the mother of a wealthy billionaire that needs people in the factories to keep working, that needs people desperate enough to be in poverty and to take any dead-end job with any dead-end paycheck. Because, like, let's be real here. Now that we have a lot of the deportation going on, the best thing we had in America, okay, well, let me sit on this because I don't want to sound problematic, but we have a lot of deportation going on. A lot of the immigrants are the ones that are doing the underhanded jobs. We're getting paid pennies in order to do so. A lot of those immigrants are the ones that are willing to work construction for $5 an hour, willing to work in a factory for $3 an hour, willing to take, under the table money that has unethical pay rates for X amount of dollars an hour. Okay? Americans aren't willing to go out into the and pick plants in the farm fields for $5 an hour. I can almost guarantee you Americans aren't willing to do that. They are not willing to go in the fields and pick oranges and pick apples and pick berries for $5 an hour. A lot of immigrants will be willing to because, you know, their work ethic is hard and, you know, they're trying to get their footing and they're trying to make money and support themselves. But, and maybe their families. But a lot of Americans are not going to do that. We're just not. We're too entitled. Like, you know what I mean? And, like, that's the issue. As Iron Man said, there is a class division. And, like, that's the problem. That there are people hoarding wealth that deserves to go to other individuals. And now we're getting to a point, it used to be the mantra that you can work as hard as you want to. You can work super, super hard. You can pull yourself up by your bootstraps and get your shit together and be able to support yourself, your family, your kids, and live a nice, comfortable life and have 2 vacations and 2 cars and have your kids go to college. Like, it used to be like that. You work hard, you were rewarded with those things. Nowadays, that's not the case. And, you know, to do a whole segue and 360 back to, like, dating relationships and having children and abortions and all that is why I don't think it is a good idea to encourage people to just have kids, encourage women to have kids, knowing the circumstances of life right now, like, in my opinion. I think that if you are in a position where you can really provide for your children, go ahead and have it. Like, have as many as you want if you know that you can afford to take care of them. But I think that it is very harmful to encourage people to procreate and have children in an environment and in a space where the wealth divide is getting bigger and bigger and people cannot afford to live. Like, the middle class is non-existent. There hasn't been inflation in the minimum wage since God knows how long, and the prices keep going up and up. People have to work 5, 6, 7, 8 jobs and chalk it up to hustle culture, when in actuality, it really should just be 1, maybe even 2 jobs that should be able to help you survive. Like, this is not sustainable, and that's the problem. We're over here arguing about who do you serve, your mom or your wife? Do you serve your man in the table or not? Who, ladies, would you let your boyfriend take you to the Cheesecake Factory on a first date? Or you know what I mean? Fellas, would you let your girlfriend go walking out of the house like just dumb shit like that? When it's like, stop, like think, Mark, think. Like, there's more important things to worry about, and that's what pisses me off. It's like we're over here arguing about what men should do, what women should do, and how to run the okie doke on both of them, when y'all should really be worried about how to run the okie doke on wealthy people who keep hoarding the wealth and money from you and resources from you. Like, that's the problem, which is why I don't like going into, like, the gender war nonsense. I think it's a psyop to keep us distracted from the real issues. I think that a lot of the isms that come out of class dividing are also psyops as well. Like racism, because I am a Black woman, I'm going to talk about it. Racism is a symptom of class division. And so when I say I don't think we have a race problem primarily in America, I'm not saying that race doesn't exist. I'm saying that it does exist, but it's not the root of the problem. The disease is class division. The symptom is racism. Because look at Diddy. Look at Diddy. Like, look at how he has been able to exploit so many people of color, being a Black man with enough money, power, and resources that he has, and been able to get away with it for so long, and might just get away with it again depending on what the verdict is come October. I think he's not going to get bail, so he is going to do some time, but they're coddling him. And the reason why they're coddling him is because he has money like that. He might have money and connections. and yet he will be the first one as soon as things don't go his way. Isn't this what happened? This is what happened with his Darien liquor line. I think this is where the real shit happened, honestly, girl. Okay, where like the troubles started to occur with the P Diddy Sean Combs camp is when he called out the company he worked with for Darien, not Darien. Is it Grey Goose? Let me think. Diddy's liquor line. Darien is Beyonce's. It's Ciroc, excuse me. Darien is Beyonce's clothing line from like 2008. Girl, I'm sorry, but like now I'm looking at Darien jeans. They look so good. Okay. Palette cleanser, but didn't the Darien jeans look cute? These jeans look cute. I hope Beyonce gets back into clothing making again and designing clothes. But that's another thing. We're gonna tackle Miss Giselle too. Don't think just because I went to the Cowboy Carter tour and I'm a big Beyonce fan that I don't know what's going on. Okay. All right. Anyway. Let's do Mr. Smiley. All right. So Ciroc, a lot of Diddy's issues that were going on with the public started when he called out the company that helped him with the Ciroc liquor line, and he basically said, it's racist the way they don't like put on a black man, they don't support me, they don't pay me my worth. I guess because he saw George Clooney was making millions upon millions of dollars off of his brand deal with the same liquor company, Casamigos, I think, because he's like the face of Casamigos, so he was making a lot of money off of it. And so Diddy came out and was like, I don't think it's fair that George Clooney is making all this money off of Casamigos, and I'm over here struggling with Ciroc, that's just like them bringing a black person down, you know what I mean? And it's kind of rich coming from him, a billionaire at that point, I guess, who is calling out, the liquor company that supports Ciroc, saying that they're trying to bring him down as a black guy, right? But then also you're over here trampling on a bunch of black talent in order to be Sean Diddy Combs. And so that's not a racist issue, is it? No, that's a classist issue. And then going back to Darien jeans and Beyonce, right? Because let's be real here. Beyonce has been starting a lot of businesses, girl. She as of recently, she started Sacred. She started Sir Davis. She started a perfume line. Girl, she is out here. She is out in these streets. She said, let me get into my entrepreneurship bag. Let me talk about my whiskey. Let me talk about my Sacred, right? Like, she's in her Fenty Beauty, Rihanna. Girl, she's in it, okay? Now, let me tell you something, okay? Beyonce also is a capitalist. So, yes, well, I'm rocking to the Cowboy Carter tour, and I'm like, and she has the screens, and they say never ask for permission from something that was taken from you, and the sound bite, the revolution will not be televised, right? Like let's be real here. She also had to triple on a lot of people in her camp that were probably in her camp in order to be Beyonce. And it may not be her. I'll give her grace there. It might be maybe her father, maybe Jay-Z, maybe her mom. Like, I don't know, but like, that's not racism, that's classism. Capitalist billionaire queen. Yes, Heaven. And guess what, Heaven? Guess what? Because I'm human, okay? I'm human. I'm probably gonna go see Act 3. I am absolutely gonna see Act 3 if it's a rock album and they got Patrick Stubb, Haley Williams, one of the members from Metallica, Enrico Nasty, Doechii. You know what? If they have them all on that album, girl, guess who's going to Act 3? Guess who's gonna be sitting up there in the honey pit in Act 3? I love Miss Giselle Down, but like, I'm just gonna call a thing a thing. Like, she's over here promoting like revolution and Black Americanism and pro blackness. Like, didn't she dance in the Super Bowl in Black Panther gear and talk about formation? And like, it is a commendable moment, right? It is a very commendable moment, and it's amazing. It's beautiful to see someone like Beyonce use her platform to talk about racial issues, but like, only the racial issues only the issues or the social political issues that are beneficial to her, not the ones that aren't. Not the fact that like there might be some songwriters that she didn't pay back in the day. Maybe she's paying them now. I don't know. Not the fact that there's like, what was it? Ivy Parkwood was made in a sweatshop. Just like any other person that you get merch from, their products were also made in a sweatshop too, girl. Don't get it twisted. But it's just like there's no ethical consumption under capitalism. So what are you gonna do, right? But like that, like the issues that people critique Beyonce on are not. They're I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. But they're not race issues, especially Black people who critique her. They're not saying Beyonce is racist, or if anything, they're saying the racism of the industry towards Beyonce, right? Which personally, I think it's because she has too much power and influence, and a lot of people don't like that. They do not like that. They do not like that. But like, in all honesty, like, if we're gonna be real, if we're gonna be transparent here, a lot of the people critiquing Beyonce, a lot of Black folks that are critiquing Beyonce are ones talking about the class divide between the talented 10th of the Beyoncés and the Diddy's of the world and the Jay-Z's of the world and the rest of us. Right? And obviously, like, when you're in that industry, it's a lot harder for you to like make a move, like what's the word? Take a stand, I guess. It's a lot more difficult. Like, you're basically being consumed by the machine. It's either eat or be eaten in that industry. Like, I get that. But like, also, it's like, girl, racism isn't the primary issue. It's class divide. Racism is a symptom. Same with homophobia. Same with transphobia. Same with sexism, fat phobia, all the obias, girl. Like, and that's my problem. It's like, while we're over here arguing about shit that isn't important, some of these conversations are important though. Like, talking about race, homophobia, actual sexism conversations that aren't boiled down to all men suck and all women are terrible, right? Those are good. But like, conversations about those aren't good, excuse me. But like, genuine conversations about like patriarchy, what feminism was supposed to be, all of that, like, those conversations need to be had. Like, we need to keep talking about them, but we also have to understand that this world, like, there are bigger fish to fry. Like, the big picture, girl, the big picture. All right. Have you also noticed? I talked about this yesterday. The amount of anti-intellectualism that has ran rampant nowadays. Very, very interesting, because I gotta talk about this. So I was watching a content creator who was like a conservative queer person talk about how conservatism is good for us, that we should be happy that Trump is in office. And one of the reasons why we should be happy that Trump is in office is because now the narrative, now the media, now the journalism is now in the hands of the everyman. It's no longer in the hands of the industry, the entertainment industry, media and entertainment as we knew it, Hollywood. Now we can make platforms for ourselves and have just as much validity and weight as Hollywood and the entertainment industry does, which means that we don't have to deal with middlemen who might say, hey, we don't want you to talk about the genocide in Palestine. Hey, we don't want you to talk about how Israel is trying to force us into a war that nobody wants. Right? Like, now we have the platform to talk about it. Technically, if YouTube doesn't if YouTube doesn't like nix your video, right? But he was coming from it from a like a podcaster, you know, more conservative perspective, you know what I mean? But from that, the bad side we have of that, I think it's great that we can cut out middleman and platform ourselves so that people will listen to what we have to say. But the issue is that with things like that, with that happening, now there's breeding grounds for a lot of anti-intellectual, pseudo-intellectual conversations. The same way that like conservatives will push a narrative, or people in general will push a narrative that now media and journalism is not just exclusive to Hollywood and those who have worked the ranks in Hollywood, but also those who have and in the industry, but also people like in everyday situations. There is opportunity for people to listen to individuals who do not know what the fuck they are talking about. I repeat, they have no idea what the fuck they are talking about. They're not experts or anything. They just look good enough. They look like the part. They have a microphone. They speak with enough conviction, and someone's gonna listen. And this creates breeding grounds for peak pseudo-intellectualism. And it's able to run rampant, and it's able to exist because now we are in a time in America where a lot of our institutions are failing us. It probably started in 2016 when Trump was president. Like, let's just be honest. When he did his first term, it started in 2016, and then we had COVID, which was a crazy shit show, right? And people started to lose hope in the institutions and in people who could not understand that, like, you know, maybe we need to mask up. Maybe we need to take this virus a little bit more seriously. And then later on in 2020, in the 2020s, now we're just having a bunch of people listen to individuals that can provide them some sort of guidance and some sort of hope. Also, another important thing is a lot of people are leaving the church. A lot of people are not like devout Christians anymore. They don't believe as much as they used to, and this is coming from someone who isn't religious, okay? But like, I'm just calling it a thing, right? People don't believe in these institutions anymore. It's so easy to poke holes through each institution that America has been represented by, just by all the things that have happened in the past decade. And now, because of that, people are actively looking for answers wherever they need to, and they are doing so in their favorite podcast bro, or their favorite girl boss podcaster, or their favorite content creator, their favorite YouTuber, their favorite streamer, you know? And that's fine if you're listening to them for entertainment, but it gets very dangerous when you're listening to them for like actual like news and expertise, actual journalistic conversation or journalistic expertise, you know what I mean? Like that's when it gets very dangerous, you know, because not every YouTuber that shows up to pivotal court cases that are like popular now, right, are journalists, and you can tell by how they act and carry on. And like Armand Wiggins, baby oil all over himself during the Diddy trial. What are you doing? This is serious. That shit would never happen back when the Today Show and CNN and all the news shows were you know, holding a little bit more weight or a lot more weight. That would not happen. You could not do that. Perez Hilton could not do that. He could go to the trial and type on his little gossip blog, but he could not spray baby oil on all over his body, and then slather himself with it, and then talk about that experience on social media without some sort of blackballing happening. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying anybody deserves to be blackballed, but I'm just saying that there is a level of couth that some experts have that actually went to school for this shit that some YouTubers, creators just don't. They just don't. They don't have the couth. They don't have the understanding. They get up here and they exaggerate the story so that it's entertaining, not actually coming with the facts when people need it. Like, you know, and everyone's allowed to have their opinions and everyone's allowed to have their takeaways. But when you start platforming motherfuckers who think that the earth is flat, like, the Joe Budden podcast, like, that's when we have a problem. Like, that's when there's an issue. When people actually believe it. Like, it used to be the people with the wacky conspiracy theorists would just be called crazy and you would ignore them. And now it's the people who are the wacky conspiracy theorists because the institutions are failing, because the people and the individuals and the government officials and just the officials in general that we thought we can trust and understand for guidance are now, like, lying to our faces. Or now we know that they are in fact lying to our faces because they always have been. Now it just feels like a lot of people are going to different resources, different people, anti-intellectual takes to find answers. And so now the crazy conspiracy theorists can platform themselves, talk about how the earth is flat, and create a whole community on it, and then eventually have a whole convention about flat earth theory. Like, that wouldn't happen back in the day. And, like, it's a beautiful thing, I guess, in a way, in a weird, twisted way, that people are able to, they don't have to deal with being blacklisted, I guess, from saying what they want. But it could also be very harmful because that's how people like Andrew Tate slip through the cracks. That's how they slip through the cracks. Palette cleanser. I've been typing faux into the Google searches to find which MAC lipstick, like if the faux MAC lipstick still exists, and it doesn't. But I guess they found me like the closest I guess the closest color, which is pink peppermint. I don't think pink peppermint is the color I'm looking for. MAC Faux. It's this color. It's like a pinkish color, but it's not pink peppermint. I want faux. I want faux so I can complete my Ryan Destiny lip kit. But yeah, I don't think I'll be able to get it. There was another MAC lipstick that I wanted, which was Candy Yum Yum. That's like 2010s. Peak 2010s lipstick. I wonder if they still sell Candy Yum Yum. Do they still sell Candy Yum Yum? Back when Nicki Minaj was less problematic, like, this was her color. I don't think they have it anymore. No, girl, they don't got it. They need to bring that. Someone needs to do a hard reboot of the Candy Yum Yum lipstick. Maybelline Forever Fuchsia, Matte Candy Yum Yum, Milani Rose Hip, WinW, Wet n Wild Nouveau Park, or Nouveau Pink. Okay, so what is the Candy Yum Yum alternative? Unpopular opinion, I'm sick and tired of the makeup drama. I don't even know. I'm not even in the loop of makeup drama anymore. Like, it used to be like my whole brand during the pandemic times, but now it's just like, girl, I can't get with y'all. Sephora Radiant Rush, Bite Beauty Moscato, OCC Nylon. Let's see if Sephora has the Candy Yum Yum makeup lipstick. They probably don't have it, girl. Someone needs to do a lip kit with Candy Yum Yum. We need a hard reboot on Candy Yum Yum and Faux. Like, we just need those 2 lipsticks back. But yeah, makeup drama, I'm not really checking for that shit. Like, there's just some products that, like, with the exception, like super huge outliers, right? Like, Jeffree Star, I'm never buying his products at all. Never. Is there another makeup brand? No, I think it's just Jeffree Star. But like everybody else, like up for grabs. Maybe I will stop shopping at Huda Beauty. I have their setting powder and it's really good. But I heard that they were copying the Beauty Bakery and I'm not a fan of that. But like back when Anastasia Beverly Hills was getting that smoke because they had a shitty PR, a shitty PR structure, or back when Juvia's Place was getting eaten up because they should not have platformed Jeffree Star. What they did anyway. Back when what's his name? What was the other drama? ColourPop didn't have hyperpigmented shades for darker skin tones, like all that type of stuff. At this point, girl, I'm just like, if it looks good on me, I'm gonna wear it. I'm gonna wear it. Oh, P. Louise, apparently she got into a controversy. See, I don't shop P. Louise products, but apparently she was saying the N-word in like 2010. And at this point, if you're Caucasian, I just believe that the N-word slipped out of your mouth some. And I'm not excusing what she did. Like, I'm probably not gonna buy her product, but it's just like, it's just not surprising. And I get very disappointed in the makeup community because the same things keep happening over and over again, and y'all just act surprised. Y'all are just over here like, well, I didn't know that. Why would that happen? Why would Michaela Noguera like not make good quality products? And I just don't understand. Like, girl, like we've been told you. Or Tarte, there's that Tarte. I won't shop at Tarte. Tarte, I will not. Tarte Cosmetics, no. Tarte Cosmetics be playing y'all. They be playing y'all, especially you chocolate girlies and you brown skin girlies, playing y'all. And y'all still will sit up there. Y'all will still sit up there and let them play you and go to their expensive Turks and Caicos trips and then get mad and butthurt when they treat you a certain way. When the makeup goats have been told you that Tarte don't rock with y'all like that, and they never did. They never did, and you still shop there. I don't rock with Tarte. Why are you? If in the next 3 years, if I hear y'all go off about another Tarte brand trip, I'm clocking it. I'm clocking it. Actually, no, I might not clock it. I might just be like, you know what, girl? Like, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? Like, people been told you what time Tarte is on. They done told you how Tarte be treating y'all, and yet you guys still rock with them. So what do you want me to do? You did not do your research. But like, yeah, a lot of the same things just keep happening over and over again. And y'all like try to act brand new whenever something different happens. Or when the same things happen, excuse me. Like, I don't even understand. Lele Pons, what is she doing? I remember there was drama about her in the pandemic. I remember people like were like doing like social. YouTube was doing hit pieces on Lele Pons because she didn't treat one of her friends right, and she just wasn't funny. And now looking back at it, it's just like, okay, treating one of your friends wrong, like they have every right to speak on their experience, but like not being funny is just, okay, that's TikTok for you. You know what I mean? Like, or that's social media. That's Instagram. Like, a lot of those skit people are not that funny, girl. Like, why is this news? Like, why are y'all being weird? Okay, so I am at the 3-hour 13-minute mark, so I'm going to play some Marvel Rivals, and then I'm probably gonna wrap it up for the night because I have yapped a lot. Way more than I thought I would. I came into this joint thinking I wasn't gonna yap as much as I did. And here I am just which I love, but I'm also just like, oh girl, I gotta go to bed. I gotta work on stuff. I gotta work on things. And whoever's watching, I just want to ask y'all to give me some good vibes. Because I'm gonna be busy next week. But yeah, like I was saying, like why are you guys supporting these makeup brands? They don't rock. They don't like you, Bookie. They don't like you. They don't like you. Hey, so what's happening here? Okay, so I guess there's a loading bar. Okay, this is weird. Alright, well, I'll put Mr. Smiley on while the loading bar, like, works its magic, I guess. But yeah, that's all I felt like yapping about. Thank you, Iron Man, for that important talking point. I think that we do need to come together. I think that so the narrative has been, since Trump has been in office, or just how everything has been turning out in the world today, is that Black people are tired. They are the ones with Black fatigue, right? Not the white folks having to hear about Black people. Like, stop. Like, I really need people to stop stealing words and reclaiming, trying to claim them as their own in order to like fight back against the minorities who created them. Okay, so like woke culture, woke used to be good. Like, you need to be socially conscious and aware. Now conservatives have hijacked it as, you don't want to be woke. This is too politically correct. Woke garbage. Like, no. And the same thing goes for Black fatigue, because y'all were about to start with that until Black folks came in and said, no, that's ours, ma'am. Because y'all, I guess the argument was like the complaints that Black people have. That's Black fatigue. No, that's not what Black fatigue is. Stop it. Stop it. Call it something else. Call it, you sick and tired of hearing Black folks speak about their shit. Like, call it what it is. Stop playing in our face. What is going on here? Oh no, see. But while I do know that some Black people are like, I am tired of having to teach people. I don't want to teach anymore. I don't want to guide. I don't want to fight. I don't want to protest. And I think that's fair. Like, y'all are allowed to not want to fight and protest. But I also think that there has to be a middle ground of how we talk to people and how we communicate and how we interact with folks. Like, there just has to be like I'm not saying like kumbaya, come together, you know what I mean? But I'm also, because especially like trying to do that with bigots who are obviously going to, what is this? Get me out of here. Bro, I'm trying to play Marvel Rivals. What's going on? Girl, I might just go to bed. But I think there needs to be conversations that we need to be having with each other. Like, we need to, on not the Jubilee, you know, 20 people v one non-vaxxer, 20 non-vaxxers versus a medical doctor. Like, we need to have genuine conversations about, like, okay, why do you think the way you do, and why do you feel that way? Where did that come from? And how can we come to a middle ground? I think people's like the genuine middle ground that everyone can come to an agreement on is that the rich keep getting richer, the poor keep getting poorer, and the middle class is shrinking and leaning more on the poor side than the wealthy side. It is a lot harder to get wealthy, and it's way more easier to become poor. Okay? And so if we can all come to that consensus, if we can all come to that agreement, what can we do as a unit to ensure that that no longer happens? What needs to be done? All right? Especially like with everything coming out about like Trump not wanting to talk about the Epstein case and the Epstein issues. that have been going on in the list. He doesn't want to expose the list, even though a lot of the conservatives who brought him into office were saying, oh, he's going to expose the Epstein and all those Democrats are going to. Let's just, now that you know that Trump is not going to cover the Epstein case, now that you know that he's not going to bring those people to justice, that he might just exonerate Ghislaine, whatever that heifer's name, Maxwell, Epstein's wife, late Epstein's wife. Now that you know that, what is something that we can all agree on? What is something that we can genuinely have a conversation about? Like, can we come together and say that there's a class issue that we need to tackle? Can we do that? Please, like we can't just keep fighting each other all the time, you know? We need to listen, and not in a performative way where we're putting up black squares, and not in a performative way where we're leveraging progressive talking points in order to push a very toxic agenda, in a way where we are all like coming to an agreement and a consensus of like, okay, how like we might not see everything eye to eye, but what can we do so that we can find some middle ground? You know what I mean? Because shit is getting bad. You're Q. I'm in Q? Why am I in Q for Marvel Rivals? What is going on? Oh. Okay, I'm gonna hit play now again and try again. Like I said, we need to have more conversations about that. Okay, so we have the bar loading. That's good. It's like at the halfway point. I'm about to crash out if this thing doesn't load up. If it doesn't load up, I'm about to go to bed. I think I've been here long enough. I think I've ranted as much as I need to. I didn't get to game the way I really wanted to, but like, that's fine. Why are they preparing? I'm annoyed. Oh, okay, here's a little progress bar. No, that's not the progress bar. Okay, so is there a progress bar? Okay, I don't know. I think I'm gonna wrap it up and then figure this out tomorrow. I hope that Marvel Rivals is working tomorrow, but I gotta go to bed. Or I gotta like work on some stuff, so it's whatever. But like, y'all, this has been real. This has been great. Thank you guys so much for attending my stream today. Thank you for the conversations that we were having in the chat. They're very interesting conversations. I'm open to, you know, anybody sharing their opinion, as long as it's not like verbally harmful, and as long as you're not choosing violence. As soon as you start getting like aggy and toxic and trying to troll, that's when I'm like, girl, no, you gotta go. I think depending on how I grow in the next couple of months, maybe even years or so, we'll probably have to have a mod conversation, but I think for now we don't have to. Yeah, we don't have to have a mod combo. But if you guys are interested in moderating, once I figure out a consistent time and I stick to it, let me know, and I would love to have some mods. That would be cool. But I think for now, I think I'm good. I'm good with the few people that I got. Nobody really comes to see little old me, but one day they will. So, yeah, hopefully this, I don't know what's going on here. I'm gonna take a picture and send it to my partner so he can help me, because I don't like this. But, outside of that, that's the end of today's stream. I am going to head off. I'm going to wish you guys a happy Sunday, or Monday technically. And yeah, looking forward to seeing you next week, guys. Hope a lot more like timely and having things together, you know. But yeah, see y'all next week. Take care. Love y'all. Bye.